You're good now.
Okay, so you the party split up. Lindis went with her two friends, Cosmic and Too Cute, to go investigate a hotel because they wanted to get away for a while. And Lockhart, Kaya, Ben Getty, Dr. Veloska, and Legacy were all still holed up inside his office, just kind of recuperating. But when you both, Lockhart and Lindis, poked your heads outside for your respective little purposes, I guess, you saw that this whole place was turned into a fucking like militarized zone. It's a little sketchy. It's a lot sketchy. This is not something you have ever seen before on the station, and it's definitely raising a lot of anxieties. These PMCs are shooing people off of the street and into their homes, or if their home is not nearby, into a nearby mass residency place, like a hotel or a motel, or somewhere they can shut the door and not look at them. But you got a hotel in a very nice suite because you have a lot of clout between the three of you, your two friends, Lindis, and yourself. And speaking of a lot of clout, you were beset by a bunch of kind of cringe, but otherwise like really nice and well-meaning fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're fine so far. Like they haven't tried to ask you for hair, which is nice. You also haven't given them the chance, which is probably smart.
Bathwater.
So, give me one quick second. I want to get myself a fresh thing of water and adjust my headset. But in the meantime, Lindis, can you roll me a luck check?
Also,
A straight
go.
D20?
That is
Or just
2d6.
2d6.
Nothing.
Well, I clicked roll, but game disagrees, I guess. See.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Those are two very different rolls.
I like the second one.
Mm-hmm. Can Legacy hack the roll 20 and delete the first one?
Roll hacking. We just have to roll deception.
You are so incredibly lucky. An 11 is so good. So let me ask you this, Lindis.
Huh?
Do you want what is something that Lindis wants to do? What is a short-term goal for Lindis right now?
Go home.
Good goal.
Okay. Okay. Is all right. Go home, and that is just go home and just forget about it. Just like start the day over.
Yep. Prepare for
Okay,
the next
fair.
day.
So you just have this powerful urge to just fucking take a break and go home and not have to deal with this bullshit. And there is a buzz on your phone, which, for those of you following along at home, there's out of stream secret roleplay shit going on. Linda's got a surprise text from potentially an anonymous suitor with GPS coordinates in it. And the coordinates, with just a quick Google search that would take no time, revealed itself to be essentially right on top of where it's essentially right on top of the hotel that you're staying at.
Oh. This isn't scary at all. She'll just say.
Too cute, like raises her eyebrow but doesn't bend to like look over at your phone.
I like show it to her, just like, point it in her direction. I just got sent text with my coordinates.
She leans in, her arms crossed, her brow kind of furrowed as she reads it very intensely, and she squints a little bit and then sits back up. Just goes, weird. And then Cosmic from behind you leans over, kind of like tilts himself so that he can peer over your shoulder.
She tilts it back slowly towards him so he can see.
After he looks at it, he doesn't have the same sort of intense gaze that Too Cute has. He looks at it, doesn't really know what to make of it, blinks a few times, then looks at you and just goes, "Stalker?"
And we are in a hotel full of people. Wouldn't put it past it.
Too Cute looks like she looks more. Her outward appearance hasn't really changed, but you just get the vibe that she's more angry now, and she just goes, "Want me to message him back?"
I don't know if we should message him back. Isn't that like confirmation bias or something?
She tilts her head and just goes, "I do not think that is what it is, but I might be able to scare him off."
Yeah, they should give her the phone.
You hand it to Too Cute, she just takes it without a second guess. And she starts thumbing on a text, and you can hear like the clackety clack of her writing out this potentially, most likely, eviscerating text message. It takes a few seconds, and then she hits send, and it is this like diatribe of poetic violence. Not threats, just a bunch of very, very descriptive bad things that could happen to stalkers. And it doesn't seem to arouse us any sort of reaction in any way. And then after a few seconds, the message kicks back and it says, "Failed to send."
I didn't know you had such a way with words. Too cute.
I have a better way with stalkers.
She nods sagely.
And as you have that brief, like phone altercation, there is a knock at your door.
Oh, this just got creepier.
Too cute.
Hey, Cosmic, go open the door for us.
Hey, don't sacrifice the good boy.
Too cute.
Wow, baby.
Too cute looks at Cosmic, and Cosmic looks back, and then looks at you, and just goes, "Okay." And then he gets up and starts shuffling towards the door.
Let's be real here.
Noodle's okay.
So he goes up to the door. As he's walking over, the knocking like becomes a little bit more frantic and a little bit more intense, which causes him to flinch a little bit. And then he stops and continues going because he's like, "Well, I mean, I'm not gonna turn around with Linda Sand Too Cute behind me staring at me. That's gonna be a bad one." So he walks up to the door. He twists the handle open, and on the other side, from where you're sitting, you can actually see who is in the door, or who is at the threshold. It is a PMC in the full black-clad armor and like hexagonal and rectangular types of like plates, with a gun, like that hose-fed gun that is draped across his arms in a more casual pose. And he's just standing there, and he looks down at Cosmic, and he just goes, "Is this the room with?" And he reaches, like, twists his hand, like his wrist upwards, and then a little display hollow pad appears over his fingertips. And he just goes, Lindis. signal pink.
Linda's kind of sighs, gets up, pulls Cosmic back. Can I help you?
There's you can see you're a socialite and you kind of have this sixth sense with body
Mhm.
language. Even having no face or
Mhm.
like eyes to watch, you see the posture of this person. The way he twists his hands back, he closes the hollow pad. His other hand is not on the trigger to the gun or anything. He's kind of nervously drumming his fingers on the edge of the rifle.
Mhm.
And he just goes, I'm going to have to ask you to step out into the hallway for a moment for a private matter. Or we
Okay.
could take the room.
No, it's fine. I'll step out. I'll be back in a minute.
Too Cute is, you didn't hear her approach, but she's like 2 or 3 feet behind you. And she like taps you, like puts a hand out on your shoulder. And she just goes, are you sure?
I'm not gonna risk anything happening to you two for something I may or may not have done. That's not what friends do.
She looks kind of like, it's there's a mote of pride and sorrow. She's like, wow, that's really courageous, and also like, damn, you're gonna just walk out there with this armored stranger dickweed. Oh, rest in power, Lindis. um, she nods and lets you go, and Cosmic just kind of steps back and looks at you, and he looks visibly worried, but just kind of twiddles his thumbs awkwardly and takes a step back. You
I
step out
just
into the
flash
hallway.
him a wink and shut the door.
He does like one teeny little finger gun, just chew, as you walk out into the hallway. The door clicks closed, and as you're in the hallway, there's no other guards. It's purely this one guard, and you. It's you examine the helmet a little bit, and you can see that there's something off. Um, there's a stripe on the chest plate and over the shoulder, but not on the helmet. And you remembered seeing a different soldier who had a similar stripe, but it distinctly went over the helmet and around. But this there's this kind of like there you notice that right away, and the guard like sits back. The helmet is big enough that you can't see if he turns his head to look left and right. It is like a bucket almost.
Okay.
So he leans back and then leans forward again, and you hear the like crackly whisper of just like, so I wanted to talk to you in private, if that's okay, because, well, I wanted just to see if you would be interested in maybe hanging out sometime, or
She blinks.
I I know that this is a weird situation to run into, but I, well, I mean, it was. I didn't expect to see you while I was out here on duty, and I, 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 I don't want to miss this opportunity to, you know, shoot my shot. And he does finger guns.
What did you have in mind?
There's a noticeable energy to his posture now, and he just goes, "Oh, well, I don't know if you wanted. Could I get your number?"
Let's see how well you do first. And she pats him on the shoulder. You can start with a drink and dinner, yeah?
He nods and just goes, sure. If you're interested, we could maybe not sneak out, but I could get something from the lobby area."
Sounds good.
Oh, by the way, um, my name is Jackson, and he holds out his hand.
Nice to meet you, Jackson. I'm Lindis, she says, and shakes his hand.
He it's like gets a little. It's very strange to see this large person in like what is ostensibly a tank suit get in this do this little giddy two-step, and he just goes, "Great. It's a pleasure to meet you. Oh, it's such a pleasure. If you're okay, I'll just run downstairs really quick, and I'll get some refreshments, and hopefully, never mind." And he shakes his head and starts hustling back towards the elevator. And after he gets probably 10 or 15 feet away, his gait switches to be this more rigid policing sort of walk, where he's holding the rifle not at attention but in a more at the rest position posture.
Lindis breathes a sigh of relief.
You rolled really good on your luck check.
Okay, I now have a fan. A fan that is in the PMC. I can use this.
Anyway, you there's a brief pause, and then as you go back inside, the door cracks open. Too Cute is right on the other side of the door, and you can see the way she's leaning on it. She has her body kind of positioned behind it so that if she were to open it, she would be out of the threshold, out of view of the threshold. And in her offhand, she has her bat swung up behind her head. And you walk in, and she gets noticeably more relaxed, and closes the door behind you, but not before doing a quick peek left and right down the hallway, just to make sure.
I thought I was arrested or something.
And 2Q turns around. Who was that? What did he want?
He wanted to go out with me, she says with a groan.
Linda's just fucking 2Q just blinks. Cosmic, meanwhile, you actually hear the low drone of what sounds like TV noise in the following room, or in the adjacent room. So he's over there watching TV, assumedly. 2Q just looks surprised at first, and then her surprise fades, and she just goes, "That figures." So
Yeah, but what bothers me is that he had to pull out a hollow pad and stuff like that. I don't know if he was just trying to hide it or not, but he's a PMC. I can use that, see what information I can squeeze out of him. But I mean, I'm gonna leave my fox here with you just in case something happens. He can take you to 2Q or not 2Q, take you to Legacy.
The fox just jumps down from near you, from in your hands, bounces off the ground, and immediately jumps up to 2Q's arms, where she just reflexively catches it without a second glance. She nods. I'll keep a close eye on the door. If I hear anything sketchy, I will text you first. And if you don't reply, I'll come get you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
She nods. Roll me. Cool. Do you have anything you were an information broker? Do you have anything that would be close enough to reading people?
Manipulation.
Manipulation. You know what?
That could be useful.
I will ask you a different question.
Okay.
Would Lindis be the type of person to manipulate someone into manipulate someone by feigning interest in them so that she could get them to swoon over her?
I wouldn't be doing that to 2Q, no.
No, is that something that Lindis has or would do?
Would I manipulate somebody into showing interest for me?
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a celebrity.
It's it is, there is an element to it, but it's more of the intentional act of getting someone, like, you manipulating them into liking you so that you could do something with that information. Is that something Lindis would do?
I
Or
think
would
she
have done?
would.
Okay. So I will let you add your manipulation bonus this time. Okay. So you know Too Cute, and she knows you. Your tactics for manipulation and such are not something that you would ever consider using on her. But you're familiar with the sort of, it's almost like a call and response where you put out some type of signal and you know if your flirtation landed by the response that comes from the person who you're targeting.
Mhm.
And you weren't targeting Too Cute, but you got a signal from her that seems a little like protective or defensive. She seems very tense and on edge and does not want to let you go with this fucking random armored dude with a gun because he's a fan and he's weird.
Thank you.
She tilts her head and raises an eyebrow, but doesn't ask you to clarify.
Then she'll walk out the door and wait for the guy to come back.
Okay. As you are going back to the door, okay, you walk over, grab the door, and pull it open, and you get about 1 or 2 steps, like halfway through the threshold, and you hear, guys, something is going on from the other room.
Oh no.
Oh God, no.
I fucking knew it.
From, like, what?
From Cosmic in the
Like-
TV room.
Yeah, Cosmic is watching TV, and he called to get your attention.
I go back to look at the TV?
Yeah, you and Too Cute both walk into the room and then back towards the bedroom area and look, like, see Cosmic. He's sitting on the bed, like elbows on his knees, a more intense look on his face, something you typically only see him get when he's like trying really hard in a particular game. But at this point, he's watching TV, and you can see now that there is a newscast or a news broadcast that shows it is an aerial shot of the outside of the hotel. There are PMCs everywhere. The whole place just littered with them. This is your hotel, the one that you are in at this moment. And the aerial shot is coming from an HVAC that is just hovering, just... And as you are seeing this top-down view, more and more people are getting herded into the building. But PMCs have cordoned off what looks to be like a landing area as another HVAC. This one, dead silent. Or just about. It's at least quiet enough that you don't hear it outside from where you're sitting, and you don't seem to hear it on the actual feed of the television. But the broadcast shows what appears to be this jet black, almost entirely glass-looking HVAC. It doesn't really look like an HVAC. It looks kind of like this almost like a rectangular pyramid, except it's a little bit more oblong. Like, you know the thing from Neon Genesis Evangelion, the movie, the big diamond thing?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it looks... Well, let me see if I can find it. It's this, like, gigantic rectangular prism pyramid stacked on top, or pasted at the bottom, so it is the same shape as a D8, but it is squat. And it floats with seemingly no propulsion. And as it gets closer to the ground, it flies by the news HVAC and levitates towards the ground, and the bottom part folds outward into landing gear, and it just silently touches down. It looks like this geometric, like almost like a Rubik's Cube style puzzle as it unfolds and lands. And when it lands, the bottom pyramid that would be pointed towards the ground is what unfolds into this like elaborate landing gear. The top pyramid starts to what? Oh. So as you watch this news broadcast, the top pyramid opens like a doorway, and outside there are out from in from the inside float out these like little discs that create a staircase. And it's like three or four little hoverboards that are different sizes, and they float at they're different levels of height so that someone could stair step down them. And out from inside the pyramid walks a face that you recognize from drug-related trauma,
I
Joseph
thought as much.
Diego, accompanied by what appears to be some type of private security, um, two additional of these PMCs, as well as someone who looks to be an android, and they are wearing like a black and red style combat suit. They don't appear to have any guns of any kind, but they walk beside Joseph Diego. They're from just the angle that you can see. Joseph Diego is quite tall. He's 6'3". He's very lean. This person standing next to him is probably around 5'10", 5'11", maybe 6. But they have a more or less featureless face. The only thing on the face that you can see is what appears to be some sort of simple diode in the middle. And then it is a red, like a crimson base paint coat, or a coat of paint, with black accents at the joints and different stripes, similar to the stripes you would see on the PMCs, but instead of black on red, or instead of red stripes on black armor, it is black stripes on this red full body, more trimmed down, futuristic type, sleek design, as opposed to the PMCs, which are much more bulky. And they walk into the hotel together, and the broadcast is talking about how the courageous Joseph Diego has followed through on his promise to handle the reconstruction and oversee it personally with his own 2 feet planted on the ground to remind everyone that you never get too big to care about the little people.
Now, the question is he here for that, or is he here for me? It could just be my paranoia, though. I'm just saying this, like, to myself, or, like, just gently around.
Cosmic is in, like, dead-eye, like, locked on the screen. He's transfixed by this confusing image. Too Cute is looking at the TV, and just you see the sort of assessment in her eyes, where she is counting the number of people she can see, looking at the guards, the HVACs. It's not like she's some kind of badass fighter, but she definitely is anxious about it, and she does not like security being this aggressive and this tight. it's sort of the opposite of feeling safe, and it turns into feeling trapped.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, panic texting Legacy.
Which is a great transition because while most of the hotel conversation was happening, back at Casa de Veloska, a a simple neon sign of a like bone saw flickers in the daylight, and inside Kaya, Lockhart, and Legacy are all relaxing for a minute
No.
until
Oh, God.
Legacy was sitting there trying to tear apart the piece of the dreamer that she has. Her and Big Eddie are just like mad scientists taking over one of the fucking tables.
this is true. So as you are mad scientist like tearing into this piece of technology, Lockhart and Kaya are recuperating.
Yep.
Yeah, huh?
Legacy, do you look at your phone ever, or are you like you're so enamored with this like violence of tearing into this piece of technology and learning,
I mean,
even though you found out that it's like fleshy on the inside.
her phone is her arm, so I imagine it's just kind of one of those things of like, there's like a little notification that pops up like above her hand or above her wrist. So she ends up seeing it. Also, I want to point this out because I think you've forgotten again that Legacy has sent 2 messages to people that have not been addressed in the past 24 hours.
I did remember the one to the blog expert, and the one towards Hijack is it's not ignored. That one you look at and you can see a read receipt. He got it, but he never replied.
That bitch.
Maxine, the message you sent to her. We'll get there.
Just wanted to remind again in case, because last time you forgot.
Last time I forgot, but I'm a new DM. I'm more
You
powerful
forgot.
than
He
I've
remember
ever been
now.
before. But you see that message pop up on your wrist, and as you get that notification, Kaya, you also get a notification. Ben Getty, who he has a phone, presumably. He hasn't really been around it or used it much, but he, like, as he's sitting there, like, the hand on his chin, it's like thinking, he flinches a little bit and then reaches into his pocket and pulls out what appears to be a very small, like, holophone. And he got a message. And he just looks at it, like, completely lost.
Legacy takes a look at the one on her arm and then notices that there's 3 messages that come in almost exactly the same time. And looks over to Kaya or Lockhart.
Kaya, well, Lockhart got one as well, but it was slightly offset.
Okay.
It was just more of a coincidence.
Looks at Kaya, and then looks at Bingetti, and back at her phone again. Aye. Not a known number, yeah? All 3 of us?
Nope.
Fucking hell.
Quick question.
The dreamer bit to Bingetti, pulls out a laptop, starts hacking.
What was your question, Lockhart?
Is this the normal way I receive messages from him?
You would have a message, you would have a burner phone, that, like, he would receive a burner, or he would contact you personally through a burner phone so that he could just ditch it at any point in time, and you would contact his personal phone through your burner phone. Because you have to know how to reach the person, but you can ditch your phone at any given time. So he has addressed his message.
Okay, so this is normal. Yeah, this is normal way to contact.
Yeah, it is a normal way to contact.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, And Legacy, you said you were hacking, doing what now?
So as soon as she's like realizes, okay, this is weird shit, she goes for her laptop and like plugs in her arm and starts trying to, or goes for a laptop, I should say, plugs in her arm and starts trying to backtrace that phone, and she like makes a grabby hand for Bengetti's.
Bengetti is like almost frozen in fear. He's looking at it, and you can see as he's kind of pulling his phone a little bit, like he's holding it further and further away from his face. And right before you reach over and swipe it out of his hands, because he's not really resisting in any way, you can see the symbol on the phone is something akin to. Let me see. It is something akin to this symbol, like a less than, and then like a 0 and a greater than symbol.
So an eyeball.
Well, make of it what you will.
An eyeball.
But you see that, and then you swipe his phone.
Swipes the phone and then like puts it down beside her laptop and then grabby hand towards Kaya as she's still typing with the other one.
Kaya like just gets up, stretches her arms out, like cracks her knuckles, takes out her phone, and just fucking chucks it right to Legacy.
You don't even have to roll for it. This happens so often. Legacy, you like reach up behind the back of your head where Kaya always throws it, and you just like catch it.
She wants to cross-reference the phone to make sure it's probably the same thing, and then chase it down.
Okay, so roll me first. This will be just a base clever check plus your hacking ability to compare the different messages that you got and see if their contents are matched or from a single source.
Actually, let me read this.
Mm-hmm.
I get a +1 to all rolls made when tracking or analyzing dreams.
Hey, you do get a +1 from that.
Nice.
All right. Nice. So with a 15, you are able to piece this together. It is a similar encryption. So you know that the makeup of this message comes from, it is a standard SMS package. There's nothing inside it. But what you also determine from this is that the signal originated from 3 different phone numbers. At least that's what you're able to piece together, which gives you pause for a second. Roll me. Well, actually, is there anything you want to do before I ask you to roll anything?
There's any way that she can get baseline information on attached to the phone numbers?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
okay.
then go from there.
Okay. So you're going to information gather to try and figure out who these phone numbers belong to. Go ahead and roll me a clever check, and you will also be hacking for this to try and access. What kind of database are you looking to get?
Ideally.
Are you gonna?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, are you going to cross-reference? There's not like a phone book equivalent. It depends on how. Are you going to start broad and just hope to get them in the giant net, or are you going to start narrow to get a response faster and exhaust sources. Because you could pick, like, you could just be like, fuck it, I'm just going to Google a phone number versus I'm going to try to search a police database to see if this phone showed up in any arrest records or something like that. That is the difference.
We'll try broad first to see if that gets her anything, but if it doesn't, then she'll.
Okay.
The broad is a safe thing to try first.
Okay. So, just as like a quick cursory glance, you could tell. I'll give you this for free without rolling because this is trivial for Legacy to do and like basically do a quick rundown to determine if this is going to need a lot of time or is worth it even. Just flipping through like a quick generalized search from typical sources, the number it's not one that's like, it's not on any sort of spam spoof site where typically certain people will a robot will generate a number and spoof it as though it were calling from that number. None of these appear in those databases, at least not to any frequency that you're thinking, okay, this is one that they regularly tap into. It's not uncommon for like residential or like personal phone numbers to be in a spoof like that, but what happens more often is that there's like frequently used ones that kind of get hit more often than others. These ones are pretty easy to rule out. So it's not a spam number. This is a real phone number that comes from some type of cell phone, and you're also able to determine that it is coming from Grand Cross. That's easy enough to figure out. It's not an intergalactic call.
And looking at these phone numbers, can she see if they're like different areas of Grand Cross or?
Yeah, you can see that the different areas represented here on Grand Cross, you have 2 from Adams Ward and 1 from this district, from the Seahin district.
And which phone got the one from the Seahin district?
That would be, let's see. Kaya.
He was not prepared for. That's what that was.
Yeah, I was not prepared for. I didn't think you'd ask that, but Kaya got the one that was from the Seahin Ward text.
Fucking great, man.
Number.
Oh. So Kaya got the coordinates. I got a random letter, and then Getty got the eyeball.
Yes, you and Ben Getty, both of the numbers that generated those messages originated from a phone that is registered to Adams Ward, or at least has the quote-unquote Adams Ward area code on it.
And is the coordinates Velisca's, or is the coordinates the hotel? Or something else?
Oh yeah, you look at the coordinates, quick search it. It is a nearby hotel.
Okay.
You don't know that it is Lindis's hotel. It is just a hotel that is very, very close to you. Walking distance, perhaps.
Can I do take the one that's Seahin Ward and try to do a deeper dive of maybe hacking into like the cell phone company or something like that, attempt, and see where it's been, like who it's called or who it belongs to, who it's called, you know, if this is just a random message or is it like sending out a whole bunch of this shit.
Sure. I will also tell you that hacking will be more difficult for this. And you still have your 3 prep to use. So just don't forget that you have access to all of the benefits that prep can give you, like boosting a roll and such. But go ahead and roll me another hacking check. And are you going to try to make sure that you're untraced? So do a ghost, sort of like cover your tracks and then hack?
Yeah, but I also automatically get a couple boosts.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, then you're good.
I think I get automatically 2
Mm-hmm.
without having to rolling. I roll for
Perfect.
additional ghost. Um. So
Perfect.
do another clever check to try and get in. Hacking clever check.
Yes, and you are trying to access the database since you already have you have 2 free ghosts. Okay. So it's a little difficult getting into this database because this is a company, and the actual network the actual frame of the network is much more secure than an average like low stakes. This is like trying to hack into a Verizon account. While it's not difficult to get into a random person's Verizon account, it's a little bit difficult to get into it through the door that is Verizon's service. You can do it, but so I'll say that you fail this time, so you lose a ghost. You can try again.
Spend the crap and use data bomb.
And
Gives
data bomb
me
just
advantage, and any rolls that you have against me is a disadvantage. 3 advantage roll. Disadvantage.
okay. Go for it. Burp. Okay. Then wait. No, that beats the DC. Okay, you got it. So you kind of like bump into a little bit tighter security than you were anticipating because you're kind of rushing, a little bit panicked. Shit's weird. Um, and your thought is like, oh fuck, and then you pause, take a breath, and you easily pierce through the security of this website or of this company. And as you break through their firewall, you are presented with information on what appears to be the person who previously owned this phone number or currently owns this phone number. Who's to say if previously? What do you mean? Who owns this phone number? This account belongs to. You get the name and birth date and whatever of this person, but more importantly, you're sifting through all of this personal information and you check some of the previous calls and previous text messages that you can access from the cloud and saved things from his database or from his personal personal cloud storage data. And as you're flipping through it, you notice that there's a picture of a very familiar motorcycle. And then you see another picture of it. And then you see a couple pictures of what appears to be a bunch of motorcycles. All of them this neon color. One yellow, one green, one blue. You see a picture of what it would have you could only assume is a picture of him in motion on the motorcycle with some of his other friends, presumably, because you can see different neon streaks ahead of him. There's video that you can access that shows him revving the engine and just blasting off. And then different friends of his popping wheelies, doing all sorts of motorcycle shit. And at one point, you see a picture of the race. And you see a green neon motorcycle and a yellow neon motorcycle. And a couple of his what are assumedly like cohort friends, etc., just hanging out. And in the background, you can actually see part of Kaya. You can see Kaya's ponytail sticking up over the shoulder of one person.
Is this the one that she bashed in the fucking head, or is this the one that stuck around for the fight?
This is the one that stuck around for the fight.
Fuck.
Okay. He ran away. Die at the fight. Right?
You didn't see the last you saw of him, he turned tail and ran. You didn't see him after that.
So Legacy does that digging, and she hits the pictures and kind of pauses, squints, and then you hear just like the click, 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 click as she goes rapid face through a couple more, and then looks at Kaya. Those neon bastards. That one that stuck around and tried to shoot the thing. This is his phone number.
Don't tell me that's the one that messaged me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Fuck.
I don't think he messaged you his phone number. I don't think he did.
There's this silence as this kind of uncomfortable realization starts to creep up on you, Kaya. And then the silence is shattered as Ben-Getty scrambles off the table and like rushes over to Voloska's desk. Voloska is in the back room again, just presumably hiding from everyone. Ben-Getty rushes over to his desk, like stumbles a little bit, and just rips open a drawer and shuffles around, grabs what appears to be a data pad and some papers and a writing utensil, and starts to frantically write something down.
Kaya's gonna slowly approach the desk to see what he's writing.
And while they're doing that, can Legacy try to, now that she has an in on this company, this phone company, see if one of the others is on here and go digging into that?
So knowing what you know now, you dig and you can make this roll. Wait, you have advantage. Never mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll with advantage to assess the next number. The DC is lower because you know where to look, and you've broken in once before. Oh wait, no, this isn't to look for the. Never mind. You have one more roll, right?
Yes.
With
one more
advantage. Yeah, roll one more time.
advantage.
This is remarkably consistent. So you reach back, grab the other phone, and start to like type, and you know what you're doing, but you're starting to get a little nervous and panicky, and your fingers are kind of like flinching a little bit. And you stop and you're just like, fuck, like kind of flex your hands and pull your fingers in, and then you start typing again, and then you fuck up and miss a key. And you're just like, pull your hand back and flex your fingers, and you're just like, it's a bunch of stupid mistakes that you don't normally make, and it's really frustrating. And just why does this mistake have to happen now instead of when it's not important and there isn't monster? This is stupid. You're having this just frustration as you're not discovered, but you have not broken in yet. If you fail again, you will lose a ghost and be discovered.
Well, if I lose my ghost, isn't that my last chance, and then I try one more time after that, and then I'm...
Yeah. So if you fail again, I counted your advantage rolls as being like their separate thing, like your data bomb from the ghost. So now you're rolling just a normal check without advantage, and if you fail, you'll be at 0, and if you try one more time without ghost, yeah, you will be found.
Still have more prep, and I have a bunch of programs that I can run. Cover my ass. Okay.
Rolling again. Okay. You are just just running into this brick wall over and over again. It is a major corporation. It is very secure, and you're starting to get the impression now that the repeated attempts are starting to put the system on a higher alert, because it seems to be that it's thinking that the attacks are rather than just random, they're targeted. So this is it. This is the last one. If you fail,
No,
you are
no, it's not.
okay. You and your fucking programs.
Because I will now use one more prep and use my ghost protocol, which gives me another ghost, and I get a boosted roll.
Okay.
It's 3D, right?
Yes, that is 3d6.
Ah, fuck you.
There you go. So which one? Well, it doesn't matter. You grab one of the phones, open it up, and as you're looking into it, it takes you a little bit longer. But as you're digging around, you see pictures of this person, him, and presumably some person he was dating, maybe a family member. It's not really clear. Just pictures of him hanging out with random people. And then at one point, you see this person at a race, and in the background, you see the neon glow of those Terabyte Boys bikes.
So does he look like he is one of the terabytes, or he was just at the race?
No, he was at the race. And in the background, you recognize it's the race by the fact that you can see a couple of motorcycles and the Terabytes.
So, like, let's see, just grumpy noises for a minute, and then pause. Oh, perfect. Wonderful. This is, I don't know. Weird dreamer monster either hacked all the technology there, or maybe hypothesis that he absorbed shit, and whatever he absorbed he's now using.
So, are you saying this out loud towards anyone or just out loud?
Just out loud.
Okay. So after you say that, there's Kaya. You've been watching Ben Getty this whole time. He has been like typing what appears to be hieroglyphics to you. It is nonsense. This just chaos that he is running on this random data pad. He has opened up basically a scratch file that allows him to write pseudocode. It's like your Notepad++ kind of thing. And he is scribbling down some ideas and thoughts just to look at it. And then with his other hand, he is scribbling on paper. And the images he is writing on the paper, like, are actually more hieroglyphic in a not joking sense. These are weird images that do not track. You're looking at it and it doesn't. You're not sure what those mean. Like, you can see the thing he's typing on the datapad, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's typing code. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what it's typing, but whatever. It's some kind of script. But he is also writing in presumably a language that you didn't know he spoke. That is maybe some kind of like weird techno. It's like vaguely elvish looking, but it's more hard bends and 90-degree angles than swooping curving lines.
Star Wars script.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars script. But he is. This is also something that you're noticing for the first time. Ben Getty's ambidextrous.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I feel like Kaya's like concern on her face as she's looking at this, and then she clocks that and she says that out loud.
So once you notice that, you're like, oh, that's neat. Ben Getty like whips around full speed, and he like grabs that paper he was scribbling on and pitches it towards Legacy. Like that paper he scribbled a bunch of writing on, when he pitches it over towards you, it's wadded up, but like not in a way that it's meant to like hit you and make you upset. It's wadded up as like, read this. I can't run over there fast enough to get it to you, so I balled it up to give it to you.
How the fuck does that save time?
Because he like after he throws it, he spins back around, like eyes. He's kind of breaking out into a cold sweat almost, and he is furiously writing more on a different piece of paper and writing more code with his hand. His
Alright.
other hand.
Kaya is gonna step back and get him some water. Gonna look at Lockhart, just be like, just like a vague like thumbs towards him, and like a thumbs towards like the kitchen. He's like, you got him. I'll be right back.
Lockhart, you've not seen Ben-Getty do this sort of shit you've seen him get nervous. And when he's nervous, he tends to he will break out into a cold sweat and then get really like nervously chatty and make a bunch of stupid like say a bunch of incomplete, incoherent sentences where he's like thinking out loud, but his thoughts are going too fast for his mouth to keep up. He's not talking. And you know that immediately. You clock that immediately as weird. The other thing you clock as weird is that paper, it like flies over and then bounces off of the top of Legacy's head and lands on the table. And you can see on it something that doesn't resemble code of any kind. You worked in an office setting, and you've seen code before. That looks like some fucking shit you'd see on the back of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's weird. And you're also aware Ben-Getty, for all of the time that you've known him, has never once even indicated he can speak a second language. He's only ever spoken English.
Huh.
I receive random hieroglyph paper.
You, Legacy, unfold that paper, and you have this moment of recognition and horror as you look at it, and you have this startling realization. This is the text that you saw before you passed out, and your memory of that moment, it doesn't come back, but you feel it. You feel it like if you were to throw a blanket over top of a gun and you could see the outline of the gun, and you put your hand on top of it and you feel the gun underneath the blanket. You can't see it, but you know it's there. And you can get a vague understanding of it. And looking at this text, you are able to not read it in any sense, but understand it. And you just look at it and start to lose yourself in it. But there's a bit of distance. Whether or not it's because it's written down by hand, or because it's not on a screen, you're not sure. Maybe it's not copied perfectly. But either way, you get this impression just by looking at it of ravenous, insatiable hunger to know and to see, to search indefinitely, and to suck the knowledge dry. pull it out and to know all without any purpose. There is no goal except to get more knowledge.
Kind of blinks at this paper and processes. And you see her, like, kind of carefully set the paper, like, full arm's length away. And she'll turn and kind of squint. And can she see the code from where she is that Bengetti's working on? Or is that, like, flat on the table?
You can, it's flat on the table. You can see that he's like tapping away on the datapad, but you can't see the actual content of what he's writing or coding.
He actually disconnects from her laptop for a moment. It kind of slowly gets up and it wanders around to where she can see the code, but Kaya is between her and Bengetti.
Oh yeah, Kaya's come back with water for both of them.
You come back with water. Bengetti he's slowed down. He's still kind of nervous, still got that kind of cold sweat look on his face. He pushes up his glasses and like runs a hand through his hair. It's a lot more slick now, from having not cleaned in a while. It's been like 2 days and he hasn't had a shower. But he like is not panting, but there is like a palpable exhaustion and in him, like as though he were just running at full speed, and then now he gets the chance to stop, and he just kind of looks back from the writing and then to the little script that he was hashing out, back to the writing. Lockhart, you look over and see Legacy unfold that paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roll me a cool check.
Well, that's something I'm absolutely great at.
Yay.
That was sarcasm, friends.
Ooh.
So you look at that paper and you have this moment of like, what is that? You take a step towards it and then look at it, and you know that it's not a language you speak. You don't know what language it is. And then you tilt your head to the left, and it's almost like the text is just swimming on the page. It is like an optical illusion, kind of wavy and hard to pin down. It's like trying to read TV static, but the symbols are all there. You close your eyes real tight and then open them again, and it's comes back. It takes a second. It comes into focus, then comes out of focus, and it's always just barely out of reach of you being able to read it. But you can't really discern anything from it. Roll me a threat assessment check.
Okay.
So, as you are looking at this thing, you don't understand it. You don't know what it's trying to convey or what you're supposed to glean from it, but there is an impression in your mind of a sort of anxiety like looking at it makes you nervous in some way. And your gut instinct is whatever this is bad. That thing, that whatever speaks that cannot be trusted.
Fair.
That's about all you can glean from it, is that gross sense of anxiety and mistrust.
Lockhart kind of leans back and clears her throat, trying to reset herself, I guess.
Fucking Piper.
Doesn't say
As-
anything though, but yeah.
Okay, so you just kind of ease back a little bit, starting to understand a bit why Ben-Gedi might be breaking out into a cold sweat.
Yeah.
He's trying to piece something together. You don't know what, but if anybody can do it, it would probably be him.
I would like to go up to him though, and like if he fills out a paper, could put it like stack them.
Mm-hmm.
Something she's kind of used to doing. So
you walk over. It's Voloska's desk. It's kind of a small, ramshackle thing. Ben-Gedi, when he opened the drawer and grabbed the data pad and the stack of paper, he realized he's writing on what appeared to be the back of forms that Dr. Voloska has, just copies printed out.
I get him a notepad.
Yes, you can. There's a notepad that is near the terminal that he uses to assess patients.
I'll grab that, and like as he finishes a page, I'll like slide it under.
He finishes writing something on a page, and like he puts his fingers on top of it and slides it off the table. Then you slide the notepad underneath, like right as he moves that page off, and then he causes him to stop, and then his eyes go from like focused and intense to kind of wide, and then he blinks for a second, and then shakes his head, just goes, "Oh, okay. Luckily, we've got a problem, but I don't really know what it is. I am incapable of articulating this, at least with words. I'll have this," and he holds up the sheet. But he holds up the notepad, which is blank, and then he shakes his head. He goes, "That?" He points to the paper that's on the ground.
Hmm.
And before anyone goes for it, he quickly steps over it and plants his foot on top of it. And he just goes, "Don't read it. Don't read it. This is more or less an exercise in trying to understand what I saw. I had to get the thoughts out of my head." He like slowly puts both of his hands up and like on either side of his head, on his temples. Just goes, there's something happening that I can't pin down.
Is hungry.
And he immediately whips towards Legacy and just goes, "What?" Starts to stumble towards you. He's not wearing shoes, so the paper he stepped on is kind of stuck to his foot. So he just kind of slap, and then he gets close to Legacy. Not too close, but like close enough that there's eye contact in this sort of like looking into Legacy's eyes to see if she's fucking with them and guessed right, or if she knows, because if anyone else could know, it would be her. And he just looks and searches into your eyes. What is your unless you want him to find out something, what is your cool defense?
Not great. 8, but like she's not very clearly not bullshitting him.
Yes, this is, and because of that, he's just looking at you, and then he starts to nod, and he just goes, "Yeah, hungry for
Everything.
information. Just a constant stream of knowledge.
Legacy goes for the data pad because that's what she was moving over there for anyway.
You see that data pad. You can roll me a clever check plus hacking so that you can kind of assess what it is. There's nothing immediately obvious about it. It is a very, very long series of references and stuff, and it's not typed into any sort of IDE. It is just pure pseudo code. It is all just like some type of theory.
Fairly closely related to her second language, which is just code.
Mm-hmm. So, as you're looking over to it, you kind of tiptoe around Ben Getty, to which Lockhart, he's now not really paying attention, but he starts to walk away, and you just poke your feet and then step on the paper, and it just he walks off without the paper stuck to his foot anymore. But Legacy, you're looking at the code, and it's making references and calls to files that it's making specific references and specific calls to files and locations that you don't know. Like, it might be on some personal computer. It's like, go to this root folder, find this thing, execute whatever this is, download X thing, go here, do this, run that. It's very meticulously built for how fast it was put together. But what you're looking at, it seems to be a type of almost like it would be building a sample of data from a reference pool, like it's almost like a query. It's almost as though it's querying a massive pool of data. But he is building this like from scratch. So he is not using a typical query building tool. He is using very, very like old school techniques, and not old school, but very, very like fundamental building blocks of code, so that he can dedicate a space of his computer or whatever computer he would be using for this purpose, then pull the information into it, almost like how you isolate and or isolated and manipulated that particular message that was sent to your phone. He's doing that, but he's making references to items and objects and things that you don't know. Just that, but you can recognize it as from some sort of system, from a network that you've just not seen yet. Lockhart, I'll say the room itself is small enough that you can see it. Roll me. It's not threat assessment. Well, I'll let you roll threat assessment with clever or cool to notice something in the code.
Okay. Let's see. Office worker apply to this potentially?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. Hey.
Nice. So you're not an expert on the actual mechanics of what it's doing, but the references that are, at least one or two that you see, they're referencing structures that exist on a very familiar network to you. This is something that it's referencing a knowledge database that you immediately recognize from your prior working days with Ben Getty, where he would, if he ever needed information about something, he would query this database. But this is a very, very different build of what he typically would use. He is referencing things from your old work. He is building some type of script that doesn't do anything for just any random computer unless it just so happened to have the same structure as one of the places from your old work. But if you were to go on to one of those computers and open up a like IDE so you could actually run code, this would run and would pull something out of a particular resource.
What do you plan on doing with that?
Ben Getty is like kind of pacing around, not back and forth, just kind of in weird loopy circles. He hasn't taken the water yet, Kaya. It's really frustrating you. But he looks over to Lockhart and just goes, "Well, look, there's a lot to explain that I don't have the time for. Because we need to, at least I feel like we need to act now. This, that, okay, all right." He grabs the side of his head and walks over and grabs a little wheelie stool from Dr. Voloska's underneath the desk, and then sits down on it and crosses his legs. And he just goes, "Okay, so at Tetsuo, the actual there was something called, well, it was casually referenced as the Horde, like, and he just pantomimes like a big pile, like a dragon's horde almost, right? At least that's how I thought of it. I don't know if that's actually how it is, but it is a wellspring of information, and I'm only tangentially. I've only ever referenced it for one project, but, and he points to the paper that is underneath your foot, Lockhart, that you've stopped from being stuck to Ben Getty. He goes, "That thing knows about it. It doesn't know what's in it, but it knows about it."
Legacy leans really, really close to him and just kind of like narrows her eyes. And is whatever that's in it gonna be a problem?
He looks at Legacy, and there's like this ghostly kind of uncertainty on his face, and he just goes, I had a working project at a previous company, and I used part of that database to artificially construct a mapping of the human brain, which is, I did not think was actually possible until I was shown that tool. The sheer amount of information that is required to actually simulate a human brain, let alone map the contents of it into a way that we can replicate it, is massive. And that hoard of information let me do it. I made a brain from this, and he holds up like just like a pencil in his hand.
You're telling me that there's enough information in that hoard that you can do that. And now this thing is wanting that hoard. Is that hoard controlled by Tetsuo completely?
I don't know. I know that they have it on their network, and I also know that if it has enough information to do that, and enough space to store it, but it also that's not the bottom of it. That's just the one piece that I toyed with. And he just holds up one finger for emphasis. It's if it wants knowledge, and he points again to the paper beneath Lockhart's foot, it's going there. And I don't know what happens when it gets it.
Legacy just kind of and gets this very, very serious and thoughtful look that you don't see on her face very often. Kind of straightens herself up. It takes a deep breath. So, okay. So, we have two options. As far as I can see, to maybe help keep something very, very bad from happening. Very bad. We can try to find Alien and stop Alien, but I don't think that's gonna be super successful. Or we need to burn the horde. That's also not going to be super successful, but hey, rock and hard place, yeah? That's a saying, right?
Ben Getty's sort of spacing out. But
Legacy
he
just like snaps in front of him as soon as she sees him start like go.
he like shakes his head. He goes, okay. Burning it down's not gonna work. It might work. I don't actually know. I don't know if the data source is contained at that location, or if it is somewhere else. I don't know what it actually pulls from. That the actual quantity of a single bit, the amount of information physically there would be massive. Beyond the structure of even the entire fucking cylinder. And he just like waves his hands around. All a Grand fucking Cross would be dwarfed by the amount of knowledge there. So I'm not sure how it even exists partially here.
Well, see,
But
I
it
have programs.
does.
I just let run and eats away. It burns it down. We have to do something. You know this, right? You saw hunger. You saw hunger. Lots of hunger that will not stop.
Well, yeah. What I'm trying to figure out is why. Like, what happens after it eats it all? is it gone? I don't think it's gone. Right? Like,
I'm not concerned
and
about what happens to the knowledge after it eats it. I'm concerned about what it turns into after it eats it.
What?
Yes, Kaya.
they both heads look directly at Kaya.
Kaya, for Amy's sake, because I had to go, Kaya slipped away, and she was tinkering with Larry for a bit. So she's just come back and like slinging a wrench over her shoulder, like, wait, what the fuck's going on?
Ben Getty does this like this hands out calming gesture, almost like you're going to charge him like a wild bull.
What
just
the
goes,
fuck?
he is like nervous, and he just goes,
Bengatti? Why you looking at
so
me like that?
I don't know. I'm just look exceptionally nervous right now. And you're bigger than me. And it's like the first time I'm noticing, really. But he shakes his head. There's this, and he points to a paper on the ground underneath Lockhart's foot that has his
Picked it up by
scribblings on
this
it.
point.
Okay, so yeah, you reach out,
Yeah.
grab the paper, and
She
I assume
folded
you're-
it though. She
Yeah.
folded it so you can't read it.
yeah, grab it, fold it, and then hold it closed between your fingers. He
Yep.
points to that folded piece of paper and he just goes, "That thing, it wants to learn and absorb knowledge. Eat it." And he looks at Legacy. I don't know what it does to the knowledge. All I can understand is that it eats it. It consumes it. Does that mean it's destroyed? I'm not sure. I also don't know if it learns what it consumes. I am guessing it does.
That's
The
usually what consuming does.
Which is bad considering he like kind of shrugs and then he looks at Kaya. I used to work for Tetsuo,
Okay.
and while I was there, I had access to something that was casually referred to as the Horde, like a dragon's horde, like this big, and he just pantomimes like a big pile. He's just like, it's
Uh-huh.
like, but it is a pool of information, just vast quantities of information. It is a constant stream, but I'm not sure if it's stored at Tetsuo or if it's stored somewhere else. The physical space required to store that much information would be immense. It would be bigger than Grand Cross, but it's. I know that the thing, and he points at the paper again. He's like, it doesn't know what's in it, but it knows that he knows that it exists. It's aware of the existence of the Horde.
So, let me get this straight. There's a giant fucking hoard of information somewhere
Yes.
on the station, right? This thing is consuming information and is hungry for just information in general. And this fucking dream of bullshit thing knows that it exists. Is that right?
Yes.
Then
yes.
Getty, like, he thinks for a minute, like, his eyes look up, and he's like, does like a little hand gesture and just goes, "Yeah."
I'm no expert, but wouldn't it technically be easier to house it in different places, bit by bit?
You say that, and Ben Getty's like squinting and thinking, and he just goes, "How's it?" Hold on. He starts to back up a little bit. He's like backing towards the door. He's thinking, not like trying to escape, but he's like walking backwards, his thoughts are just carrying him in this like weird direction, like physically carrying him almost. And he backs up until his butt hits the door, and he just goes, "Spread out in different locations." And he looks up and he just goes, "Do you remember that project?
Hmm.
The last one? Well, I don't
Mhm.
know why I'm asking. Oh, you know. That this," and he points to his head. He goes, "That is storage on a level we cannot duplicate. At least not that at least we couldn't before. But after that project, we might be able to."
So it's kind of like USBs in a sense.
He like runs a hand through his greasy hair. He just goes, It's like using your brain as a
Hard drive.
substitute for just storage. As a hard drive is the human body is remarkably similar to a computer. I mean, if you use the metaphors, but realistically, you could. I mean, we've created androids with the mental structures we built to create androids were not perfectly mapped. They were evolutionary linear progressions of an intelligence, which it's easy enough to start something like that, like kick off a chain reaction, and he starts just going and going and going and going and going. At a certain point, he just is talking techno babble.
Can we make sense of any of it?
No.
Lockhart
well,
moves her hand.
Legacy might.
Mm.
Legacy, you can roll me a clever check. So you're as someone who has a more close-knit relationship with the meta stage of computing. Storage isn't like ambient nothingness. Like information has a weight to it, quote unquote. And so he's talking about how when they first developed AI, they developed a way for AI to teach AI because they could not build a brain. So rather than build a brain, they built a thing that makes a brain from a bunch of pieces by just randomly scrambling it, and they just had it do that over and over and over and over until we got to the stage we're at now.
Generational learning tech.
Yes, and he's like, and that is how we got to the level of basically fully humanoid androids that are walking around because we have created a way to develop a full
The
humanoid
perfected
level and understanding.
algorithm, right?
But there isn't. Yeah, but it takes time and it takes a lot of energy to do that. The other thing is mapping to a human, like just straight going from nothing to making a brain, is much taller of an order. But it is possible, specifically after Ben Getty made something that he did at Tetsuo that you're only just now tangentially finding out about. But because of his whatever mystery project, he is now supposing that it is possible to create a brain raw from protein, to create consciousness at a moment, which to him is very distressing. Lockhart, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I raise my hand and I'll putting the palm out towards him like a okay and
It's okay. So here's my guess. Information takes up space. There is a wellspring of information that is being referenced somewhere in Tetsuo. They needed a place to store it. The most optimally designed storage space that we've ever created would not hold a candle to what we need to hold that. But you know what it does? And he points to his brain, like, with a very sharp gesture. He just goes, it. A biological computer. Brain. It is the next... It's the next logical step, really. It's honestly kind of shocking that I didn't put this together sooner. But a creature that eats knowledge, and he looks up again, and then he looks over at Legacy and he just goes, it's presumably learning, because it couldn't do the things that it does now before, right? Like it's acting differently.
Assuming that it's doing the same with knowledge that it does with and metal and assimilation that does all the time physically.
He blinks and just goes, it's going to keep getting bigger. Because it's going... It can't not. I'm not sure where it's hiding right now, or even how it's hiding.
what's the likelihood of it, I guess, consuming the station, or at least a ward?
Ben Getty, like...
Hi. Lots.
Is that what Legacy says?
Yes.
Ben Getty holds up a fit. Oh wait, hold on. There's a perfect image for this bullshit. Oh shit! Don't hit back. But Ben Getty like holds up a hand and opens his mouth, and he just closes his mouth because he's like, oh yeah, that's
There's
best guess would probably be very high.
this thing's
Motherfucker.
gonna keep consuming, and both information and physical, and we live in a giant metal box, and it eats metal. That's a problem. Number one. Number two, okay, so we know that Tetsuo wants this thing. It probably wants to try and control it. I don't think they can control. I don't think anybody can control it, to be honest. But they want to control it, and we don't. This thing is gonna become very problematic, and Tetsuo did not have it.
It wouldn't surprise me if they believe they can, though. They might even have something to, I don't know, tame it.
They
How
probably
long.
think they do, but if what this thing has done thus far is any hint of what it does in the future, it'll just learn what they're doing and work around it, and then a lot more people are gonna be dead.
It will hit a moment of informational critical mass where it will just eclipse our own ability to think, and it will be able to, with perfect accuracy, predict our actions, which goes against the causal frame of the universe, but also, that is a much larger issue than I thought. But either way, it will be able to, en masse, respond to anything we can come up with faster. At a point. Right now, it seems to be kind of an animal.
Instinctual.
Not even. It is solely driven by.
Alright. That's just fucking great, isn't it? Yeah.
Vengetti gets the look on his face of, like, he was going to say, like, no, it's not great. And he stops, just looks at Kai and just goes, yeah. He scratches the back of his head.
Yeah, no shit.
As much as I'd love to screw Tetsuo over and deal with this thing ourselves, can we even deal with this thing ourselves? Should we?
Yeah.
It needs to be dealt with. That's the should is not a question, I don't think. Because if somebody doesn't deal with it, I how do you feel about being Space Popsicle?
I mean, I was pretty close the other day.
Vengetti looks over, he just, like, scowls at you, just like, not funny. I was there.
Well,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we both almost were. What the fuck you want me to say?
It's worse.
Almost is a lot different than being. And I don't want this thing to grow big enough that we all become Space Popsicles suddenly and involuntarily.
Okay.
God,
Alright.
what the fuck would we even do?
We need to get to Tetsuro somehow, or fucking we either need to get to Tetsuro or this creature. I don't know where this creature is. I have no way of tracking it. It's
Sewers.
what?
I found it in the sewers. It went back to the sewers. It lives in the sewers.
It
Wait.
looks like.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
You go ahead.
I was gonna say, and from what I understood, that's what the Fire Ants are doing. That's why they're locking down the ward.
What?
They're probably looking. Police, if they're looking up, down.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was a little busy. Did you ever figure out what the fuck the coordinates were about, or what?
That's a hotel. I don't know.
And then a bunch of messages come through with concerned at like legacy from Linda.
Fucking her arm lights up like a fucking firework. She's like, fucking, god damn it. And reads through a couple, blinks, scrolls back up, reads through them again, and just goes flying to a computer or a TV, whatever's closest, to try and turn on the news. Turns on the news program and is like, God damn it.
Like the same time you flip on that news program is when that image of the tetrahedron shape just magnetizes its way down and unfolds to reveal Joseph Diego.
I think
go ahead.
I know what the hotel was.
Motherfuck.
You want to know? Guess who's in the hotel?
Vengetti is like not paying it any attention. Is just like, What is a hotel made of? I mean, I can see that Joseph Diego's there, but like, what else does a hotel made of?
Didn't you notice we're missing a few people here?
Don't Legs. Don't tell me.
Yep, yep. Mhm.
For the fucking. Oh my fucking god.
They did say they were going to a hotel.
Legacy just like stares and looks at Kaya just like depressed, and then looks at Lockhart and then at Ben Getty. So, two questions. One, do you have your wills prepared if you need them? And two, how
Yeah.
quickly can you go underground and disappear if you need?
From behind, you hear, "I can help with the second one. The first one, the doubt will matter." And from the shadows, Veloska tromps his way in. From where he was, which was presumably like the kitchen area. You're not sure how much he heard, but he did not seem to be coming from all the way in the back. But he stomps his way in, and he is holding a handbag, or not a handbag, like a duffel bag. And he walks over and then sets it on top of the surgical table, and you hear this like heavy metal shunk, and then he looks at the rest of you and just goes, "Emergency kit. I heard most of what you were talking about. I'm not going to join you. I am not young like I used to be." But and he looks over at Lockhart, and then Betty and Legacy and Kaya, and he just goes, "If anybody could do something this fucking crazy, whatever you're planning to do, it would involve these two for sure." And he puts a thumb towards towards Lockhart and Ben Getty each. So, and he sets his hand on top of the bag with a thump, and he just goes, "Take my bag. It's not like it would have done me much good anyway. I also have an emergency exit nearby that I use for the less scrupulous patients."
I knew there was a reason I liked you, and she kind of bounces over to the duffel bag
Thanks,
to see what
Doctor.
toys there are.
He like rubs his temple, and you hear him say under his breath, "He's like, you're just a different version of him. I don't know what to expect."
I am. Kaya. Larry is hiding under the table. He has built a fort made out of Red Bull cans.
He's having a good time.
No, he's like he feels the tension. Like it's a fort of safety. Sheila just crouches down, like squatting down, makes eye contact with Larry, and is just like, "Fucking told you, I'm fucking cursed with this fucking bullshit today. Fucking God, fucking damn it."
So I think Kaya can probably handle one of those dudes. How many can you handle, Lockhart? As she's
Can't
digging through
handle-
the duffel bag.
I can't.
You open the duffel bag. Inside the duffel bag, you find you find 2, 3, 4 different limbs. You find 2 legs, a left and right leg, 2 arms, a left and right arm. You find a handful of different, like, fold-out hexagonal boxes that are organ replacements, emergency organ replacements. You find a shit ton of air hypos, 10 or 12 air hypos. Underneath that, you find what appears to be an old-school elephant gun with 6 shells and 2 shells already in it. And beneath that, you find a very familiar medkit, like off the counter or over the counter one that looks exactly like what Kaya had stapled on the back of her motorcycle.
Legacy just like reemerges from the duffel bag. Probably had her head fully inside a just like victory with the med kit. and just walks over to Kaya and pokes her and then shoves it in her into her chest. There you go. And she goes back.
What the fuck? I fucking regret everything I've ever done the past fucking week.
If it makes you feel any better, your swing is pretty good.
Thanks. Appreciate it, But fucking Jesus.
And I guess he will text back to Lindis. Is he coming for you?
Maybe? Question mark?
Hiding an option?
Move to a different room?
I've already been spotted by BMCs. Tell me what I need to know.
Maybe.
Text wall incoming.
God fucking damn it. I had to get pulled away again. What was in the duffel bag? Was it just a med kit?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, I keep getting pulled away.
No, it's
Listen
I love
to the playback because it was a blot.
I can
Okay.
tell you what's in the duffel bag. There were 2 additional mechanical arms, 2 additional mechanical legs, a left leg, right leg, a left arm, right arm. There was an elephant gun, which had 2 shells in it, with 6 shells, 6 additional shells.
A total 8, right?
Yeah, 8 for a total.
Okay.
There was the med kit. There were some hexagonal boxes that were emergency organ replacements. And there are a bunch of air hypos. I think I said 10.
Okay. Fucking great. Guy's having a great time. He said it's still the same day as before, so it's still April 20th. Yep, it's a great day for Kaya.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, Kaya is 100% just bitching to Larry about fucking piece of shit. Couldn't wait 2 fucking days.
So Legacy will tell Lindis because she's not going to tell her everything, because that's also going to put her in danger
Yeah.
potentially. She needs enough to not be on the back foot.
Yeah. I need to know what to begin with. Yeah.
So she'll tell her that Tetsuo is after the Dreamer. That the Dreamer is potentially a threat to not just a ward, but to the entire station, and like very carefully phrasing it in such a way that Lindis should hopefully, knowing Legacy, understand that this is not an exaggeration of hers. This is her like, we're gonna die.
Okay.
And tell her that she thinks Tetsuo wants to try and control it, but it is going to be literally impossible in a fairly short amount of time. Anything else that you guys think that Linda should know from the summary of what we've learned?
I'd like to know about the horde thing if possible.
She won't.
I might need that to slip into Diego if it comes to that.
She'll say that it's after something at Tetsuo that is extremely valuable, and I don't know how to phrase it. She also again, she doesn't want to give too many details because there's also the like ignorance is safety. Like
a lot of
aspect to it,
sensitive
too.
info.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sensitive info that they hold. Maybe. I don't know. Just trying to vague it out.
That she'll say that there is a large database of some sort that Tetsuo has, that if this thing gets, it will be extremely.
Okay. So what's going on with Mission Diego? Joe.
Yeah, so you guys are all saddling up to get ready to go through the back exit from Dr. Veloska's clinic.
I didn't agree to
Back
anything.
at Casa de Gamer, you've been exchanging messages with Legacy. You're getting a bunch of weird bullshit from her, but this is the most straight-faced she's ever been, which is way worse. And
It's like
you're having this.
Front of the
what I
elevators.
imagine is like when she's like dealing her conspiracy theories shit, it is so like in depth and detailed, everything she tells you. Her being just like straight up like fact sentence fact sentence fact sentence and not extra shit, not going on tangent, is like essentially Legacy's version of like we are jumping into the fire.
Alright, you two stay safe. Don't leave this room.
Too
And
cute
just gotta-
immediately stands up, and then like you hear her fist clench on that bat. She raises an eyebrow. She's just like, "You trying to tell me that I should not go with you?"
It's not that I don't want you to go. You know I love your company, but like I said, it might just be me that they're after, and my life and my career might come to an end, but you two need to stick around, alright?
She reaches into her pocket and pulls out her phone, and then she pulls out her wallet, and then she tosses them over to Cosmic, and he just goes, she just goes, "I don't want them to confiscate it if they find it on me." And she twirls the bat, and then lets it land like over her shoulder, and she just goes, "You like my company, and I would not want to deprive you of it in a time of need."
Lindis will toss Cosmic her phone as well.
Oh God.
There goes our communication.
Yeah, you should let us know that.
I'll tell Cosmix to tell you that there's been a change of phone ownership.
You get a message, Kaya. You get a message from Cosmic because he doesn't know which number is which or which roommate is which, and it's just, "Hey," it's from Lindis's phone. And he goes, "Hey, it's Cosmic, Lindis and SP and 2Q both decided to go fight cops. I guess I'm holding onto their phones so that they don't get confiscated if they get arrested." And then he
Right.
sends you the room number of the hotel.
Writes back. Wait, this is the one with the Slurpee? Question mark.
He goes, "Yeah." It's literally just like three letters, YEA.
All right. Tries back. Cool. Period. Tell her to stay safe.
That brief exchange happens, and 2Q looks like tilts her head towards the door, just like, "So are we going to go loud right away, or try to be a little bit more reserved?"
If we go loud, we're going to die. We're going to at least have a presence by waiting in front of the elevators for them. Take the initiative.
She nods, and just goes, "I'll let you take the lead." And then Cosmic, right, like immediately after her sentence, just goes, "Kaya says to stay safe.
I'll do.
I think she's mad. She put a period after cool."
Just would know that's just Kaya.
Kaya texts always with perfect grammar.
She does.
Can't hear you, Piper.
I said, okay, I'm going to go wait in front of the elevators now.
Okay, so you walk out into the hallway, and you start walking down the elevator, or walking down the hallway towards the elevators. It's pretty deserted on this floor because you specifically requested a very expensive room, which is kept kind of higher up. Or you didn't request it, but Too Cute. I think. Wait, did you request it?
No,
Too
too
cute
cute
did.
No,
did.
too cute.
Yeah,
did.
Too Cute did. So as you're walking down the hallway, you get to the elevator area. It's eerily quiet. Um, just waiting there, and the elevator dings up, and there's no one inside, and it's otherwise totally fine. You both step in. The elevator doors slide close, and I think right now is a good time for a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Right before
We're
combat. I
all
mean the
gonna
next section.
die.
Yeah, fucking Kai didn't agree to go fucking anywhere. Like you're all gearing up to go out. Kai didn't say shit.
I love I love that this was like, hey Kaya, you should go race your motorcycle, like around the block.
Yeah, just around the block, like who am I racing against? Just some scooters, nothing against you. Just leads to all of this bullshit. Fucking, fucking, the monster couldn't wait 2 days for Kaya. Just 2 days. She'd be happier.
This is gonna be so good.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Kaya's gonna age like 30 years in a day.
She's not gonna make it to her next birthday at this rate. What are you talking about?
Oh no.
I just want to see Kaya just fucking snap and like tire iron go ham.
She's not good at combat. She has a +1 in brawling, and that is it.
Don't forget you have your
Yeah.
your whatever the anxiety bonus or whatever the fuck it is.
Short fuse.
Yeah.
Yep. She's got that going for her. That's it. Oh
I
my
still want to
god.
see her just snap and go fucking ham. Wonderful.
She's fucking close, man. Just Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my fucking god.
How quickly Kaya snaps and Legacy suddenly just fucking disappears. Oh,
Fucking
no,
make yourself
not getting in
scared.
front of that.
No, I
Kaya snaps,
imagine
Legacy hides immediately, just like, it's not me, right?
I imagine Lindis and Legacy have never seen Kaya actually angry. Just very disappointed.
Kaya, like,
I imagine Legacy's gotten pretty fucking close because she keeps taking her shit.
Yeah, but that's like annoyed, She's not actually mad. So when she does snap with the short fuse, that's gonna be fun.
it's like hell hath no fury, like or like whatever, a patient man loses patience or some shit. What is that
Mhm.
quote? I don't fucking know.
I don't know. You tried quoting it earlier, and the same thing
Yep.
happened.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go use the restroom, but Joe, I responded.
Yes. I will return
Making sure.
your text.
Just making sure. I'll be back.
Yeah. No, that's a fair thing to make sure of because I'm a very pea head.
No, you're good. Also,
No, I mean like I forget stuff all the time.
Mhm.
So it's fair. It's fair to be like, hey, did you see this? And me, if I don't say yeah, or if I say like, then send it again, or tell me, Joe.
The man
I have
has ADD.
yeah, Joe, I have a question.
Mhm.
So, canonically, the race and the accident was yesterday, right?
Yes.
So Kaya is still at 1 and 2 minor injuries.
Yes. You are still like vaguely wounded.
Okay. Joy. You know what? Everything is fine. She's got her will already. It's on her desk. Uh, Jesus Christ.
I'm back.
Hello.
Oh. So, Joe,
Mhm.
I don't know if it was you or the music or both, but like throughout that whole first scene with Lindis, like even when it's like, oh yeah, it's just a fan, I was still like tense as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Could have been a lot worse. I'll just say that 11 was a really good 11.
It was kind of funny. I was like shaking a little bit because I was so anxious. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god.
Not sure which Legacy is more paranoid about right now. Her own potential physical death with this thing, or the thought of this thing potentially being controlled, or at least pointed, by a fucking cartel.
Yeah, both are bad. Both are very, very bad.
Who knows? Maybe if we're lucky, they'll just kill each other, right?
Or maybe it's just gonna end terribly, and we'll get the worst of both worlds.
Oh god.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, yeah. Side note, while we're in a break, just for like the extra reason why Kai is so salty, Legacy and Lindis would know. Probably not at the forefront of their minds, obviously, because of all the bullshit going on, but it has been declared that in game, tomorrow is Kaya's birthday.
Oh.
Hey, you'll get to celebrate it by, saving the station.
By maybe surviving.
Yeah. I mean, that's a birthday gift in of itself, right?
Yeah, she was probably hoping for, like, I don't know, that new blender, maybe, or even just like have her annual video call with her parents, you know. Like,
Get that new soldering iron or
yeah, a
soldering
new
tool.
soldering iron, right?
Have a day where Legacy and Lindis try not to argue for 24 hours.
Tried. I feel like
You're the one
that's
starting the arguments.
This is it's not it's not me, it's Z. Z and all of her characters.
I imagine Kaya gifted herself one year, the year after she moved in, really, really good like earphones. Like,
Soundproof
not like to play
earphones.
music, but for silence, and she uses it on her birthday. It's like, try as they might to not argue. Oh, it still happens.
Okay, is everyone back?
Let's
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
Alright. So, quick transition. We go back to Dr. Veluska's office. Dr. Veluska and Ben Getty are having a brief exchange, where Veluska's like, or Ben Getty says, I don't think I should go because I've been very concussed, and I also don't have good shoes. And he looks down at his feet. And Dr. Veluska's like, I am not your father. I don't give a shit if you go, but you're going to stop drinking all my Red Bull or I will break your neck.
Like, she just kind of blinks at him. Like, you realize we either need you to finish whatever fucking code you are making, or you need to be there to create that code if we happen to go find this database.
He points at you and just goes, I have a better idea. And he looks, his hand, like still outstretched, pointing at you, whirs until it points to Kaya. And he just goes,
What?
listen, and he hustles over to you and then crouches down next to you, and he just goes, "Now I know that you're probably going to be mad, and you're probably going to tell me no, but I need to borrow Larry." Lenny?
It's Larry. She like squints at him. So like he's crouched down in front of her, where she's crouched down.
Mm-hmm.
She fucking
Well,
like
kind of beside
squints.
her.
Yeah, okay. She fucking like squints at him, like, why the fuck you want to borrow him?
Well, he looks at Larry and just goes, "He's a drone.
Yes.
I was a bit of a drone pilot. Not very good. But at the very least, I can borrow him and install a basic transmitter so that I don't have to actually be in there in person. And I can borrow his little," and he like points to his manipulators and does a little like diddly finger. He just goes, "Here's little manipulators, and I can ad hoc code or, manipulate."
RoboGetty.
Kai fucking squints.
I'm not gonna break it. It's not like I'm gonna put like a power output adjustment device on him.
You know, last time I let you put one of your fucking devices on something I made, it fucking blew up.
He puts a hand on his forehead and just goes, "I knew you would bring up the past."
It was fucking yesterday, Bengetti.
Yeah, a day is the past. Look, I am trying to keep myself safe and yourself safe. Do you want to
How the
drag my ice around again?
You know what? Honestly, fucking close to it.
He's kind of earnestly just like, "You don't want to have to look out for me," and then you're like fucking close to it. He just goes, "What? No, don't do that. No, no, I don't want to go. If you
I don't want
physically
to fucking
grab
go
me."
either. You think I want to go?
To be honest, I sort of did, because
Why
I
the
just
fuck would
assumed.
I want to go?
Well, I don't know why you wanted to ride a motorcycle up a hyperlane.
I didn't know it was on the fucking hyperlane. I thought it was just around the fucking block.
Well, that changes things. I
No
thought you were
fucking
much
shit.
crazier. Well, you're still kind of crazy. It's just not as crazy as I thought.
Not as fucking crazy as you.
That's probably true, but still rude. Either way, he exhales and sits down on his butt, just kind of plops down a little bit, and just goes, I'm sorry I fucked up your bike. I genuinely
Aw.
didn't mean to do that." And he immediately he hunches his head and hides into his shoulders, and he looks around and he's making sure that no one is too close. And then he looks up at Kaya and he goes, "I can promise you I'm not going to break Larry. But at the very least, if you go or if you don't go, then we can both use Larry to be with him." And he points at you, and he points to Lockhart, and then he looks back at you and says, "No matter what I decide, Lockhart's gonna go to fucking probably break someone's neck. Or 10 people. I don't know. She probably could do a lot. So she's not gonna stay here. And I don't want to get near the people whose necks would be broken, because it's likely that they would have guns. And I don't want to deal with it."
Right.
He just shrugs.
Kaya's gonna she was crouched down on her feet. She plops down on her butt too. She's lets out a deep sigh and just look, don't worry about the bike. It's fucking fine. Just, all right. Look, if you're gonna be piloting Larry, you gotta know a little something.
He tilts his head, is like, "What?"
Kaya's gonna call out Larry from his fucking Red Bull fort.
You whistle, and then there's a little his little hover thing propels him up and then over. Very, very careful not to knock it over. And he levitates over towards you.
All right, look, Mingatti. What I'm gonna show you is something I've been working on for a while. I kind of just finished it. While you guys were all talking about the fucking hungry monster, whatever the fuck. Anyway, don't break this, and don't get too fucking happy about it. But
He narrows his eyes.
Kai's gonna turn to Larry. He's like, "All right, you ready, buddy? Activate Murgatroyd protocol."
So Larry does nods with his whole body, and then
Mhm.
spins, and then starts to levitate, and then his face turns off, and then he sort of tilts forward a little bit. And how would you describe the Murgatroyd protocol?
So Larry, I don't know if you guys could remember what he looks like. Well, he's vaguely stapler shaped. So the top half kind of just opens forward, like a car hood that opens from the reversed, right? And inside you just see lined up like a laptop cart, just 10 mini Larrys, and one by one, in sequential order, their LED screens all light up, and they all float out and hover circling around Kaya and Bengetti. The biggest one, which is about half an inch bigger than the others, just comes in front of them and gives a little salute.
Bengetti, you hear him under his breath. He's clearly looking at the slightly bigger one. And he just
Mhm.
goes, "Gold leader."
No, look, Larry's transferred to the smaller ones, but the main one in control is this one.
Yeah, it's Gold leader.
It's what?
Gold leader. Do you not watch Star Wars?
No. I feel like we're fucking living Star Wars, aren't we?
Do you live under a rock? And he just shakes
Yes.
his head. He's like, "You know what? Never mind.
You
We're not
just
going
hear
down
this
this road."
distant yes from Legacy.
Don't live under a fucking rock. Whatever. Just he can do this. He's got his fucking fine manipulation edition and all that. So fucking don't break him.
I'm not gonna break him. I already promised. I'm not gonna break him. It's gonna be fine. And he scoots up, and he doesn't do a kip up, but he rolls backwards, reverse somersaults until he's on his hands and knees, and then stands up.
All right. Deactivate the Murgatroyd protocol.
And all the little Larrys line up in sequential order, and then they with the tiny flute march their way in to Big Larry and then reassemble.
I'm so happy I have that for him.
Bengetti rushes over to that little spot on the wall that Voloska prepped, opens it up, grabs a handful of tech out of it, and then starts to make a transmitter device. Is there
Right.
anything you guys want to do yet? Because Voloska is basically he is referencing a sewers chart, and he is like, "I have it's sort of like a sewer pipe, but it will lead from here directly to, well, the outport of the station. So it is meant to get people in and to my clinic or from my clinic out."
Can Legacy scan it?
Yes. So it actually goes. Excuse me. It goes past the checkpoint security and will spit you out directly in. Let me see. Which ward is it?
The adjacent ward.
Yes, it will spit you out directly in the adjacent ward. But yeah, it actually spits you out into the central station area, so you can get back to Voyager ward, which is typically where people are coming in mass. So it's not unusual to see a bunch of people moving into and out of Voyager Ward.
Legacy wants to scan that map. Now,
Mhm.
imagine she's kind of vaguely heard the conversation between Getty and Kaya. Just like little bits and pieces. And she's quiet for a minute. And she looks at Lockhart. So you're going, right? Going.
Right.
Are you wanting to punch? Or are you wanting to hunt? Are you want to... Wow. We walk out that door. Where are you going?
I mean, I assumed I was with you guys. We're all on the same mission, right?
Yes? Yeah, hopefully. But what that is different than what you're wanting, what your gut instincts to do.
Well, as I stated, getting a chance to talk with Tetsuo, I'd like to take that opportunity. And saving the station's also a good bonus.
I wouldn't call that a bonus. I would call that the primary directive. But okay.
It was a really bad attempt at a joke.
I understand that Legacy is in processing mode. And
I'll look at the map as well. Can I essentially use my well-traveled to kind of assist with navigating on that?
So the map isn't a very so the map is actually a layout of the sewer system and how the single pathway navigates through it, so that it's not directly detected as something that's not supposed to be there.
Okay, got it.
So it's easy to navigate that pipe, but when you're looking at it, I assume that all of the details and such you're recording, either legacy scanning and recording, are related to the sewer pipes and the actual sewer map portion.
Okay.
So yeah, you can look at it and then keep your well-traveled benefit such that you get the benefit while underground, and you're, at least for this section of the sewers in Seahin Ward, you're a little bit more prepared for any sort of quick or quick travel, or if you felt like you were lost, you could probably
Yeah,
get
it's
a good
kind of
navigation sense.
how I'm understanding it, at least, is kind of like this is a map of the sewers, while she kind of has a overview-ish of what's above the sewers. You know what I mean? So like the equivalent,
Mhm.
like, okay, this seems to be kind of in this area-ish, and does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's over by that 7-Eleven that I wanted to go to earlier. So
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah,
of
that's perfect.
okay.
so after Legacy says that, she kind of pauses for a second. So you have Zappy thing now, right? And you see her kind of flex her hand, like, have Zappy thing. Zappy thing works against Dreamer.
It
It
seems to have limited uses currently.
yes, but EMPs also work. EMPs also work. And you see her for a moment get distracted, looking around, what else can she just take in this office for EMPs, and then she shakes her head but and you can fight soldiers, yes? Will you fight soldiers?
Of course.
Okay. And she looks at Kaya
What's up?
and kind of looks Kaya up and down. You can stay if you want.
Not really. I can't.
I mean,
And
if you
sit down
do,
and not move, that you can.
No, look. If you're going, I'm going. And I'm not fucking sending Larry by himself with this fucker piloting him. He said himself he's not that good.
What?
Why don't you pilot him?
Because I'm going.
I mean, it would be also nice to have a backup team in case we all die, right?
We are not thinking about that possibility.
Another bad attempt at a joke.
Her humor is like fucking Diana from League of Legends, where it's just dour.
Yeah. Legacy is like looking at like Lockhart for a moment.
She has a little like tiny smile. as if she's a little like not proud of herself, but like again, intended joke.
Look.
You kind of concerning, but okay. if you
I'm going. And besides, like, what time of day is it, Joe?
It's around dinner time-ish.
Alright,
Like probably 5 to 6.
alright. Gonna pull out her phone, look at the time. Like, oh, look at that. Of course I'm gonna go. I mean, what better way to spend my birthday than 7 hours ahead? Going through the sewer, trying to save people, trying to not die?
Ben Getty, like, he doesn't do his typical, like, shout from across the room, but you hear the chair he's sitting in, like, roll and stop, and he leans back and, like, looks over at you, and he just goes, "It's your birthday?"
Tomorrow. 7 hours from now.
Oh. Well, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Well, I guess he just
He-
kind of gives her this like look, like, "Ooh, you know this was not intentional, so I will make you something very nice if we live,
Sure.
and it won't be just cup noodles. I promise."
I like the pain in Legacy's voice.
It's the thought that counts, and besides, if we all live through this, that is gonna be a gift enough. Honestly. I mean, we blew the fucking thing up with a motorcycle and thermite. And it just, what? Dug a hole and left? What if we run into it again?
I am figuring that out.
Ben Getty, you hear from across the room, just goes, "I'm also working on it. I'm devising a way that we can trick either its progress towards the information eclipse, or we can trick its location. Kind of the like the Heisenberg thing, you know, but for a monster instead of like a particle. But either way, that is what I'm working on. I've got an idea, but gonna need some transmitters, which I'm going to have Dr. Veloska put in the sewer. Oh,
Okay. Like, see, he's just like bouncing from one foot to another at this point. Like, anxiety, need to move, ADHD, need to move is just compounding. We need to collect Lindis before she dies. Hopefully she won't die before we leave the sewers, but yeah, we need to collect her, and then step 2 after that, it depends on if any of us are dead. But that's step 1. Sewers, then Lindis, and hopefully that hotel has not hit the ground by the time we get there. Plan?
Oh,
Chief shirt.
good job.
Perfect. Okay.
Also,
So-
do you have any tools you don't want? Or need replacing?
Are you asking Ben Getty or
Dr.
Veloska?
Veloska.
Veloska just goes, "Ugh. Why did I get myself into this business?" And he like stomps over to a box and pulls it off the top of his shelf and hands it to you. It's like a bait and tackle box, and it has just it's filled with old, broken types of or not. Some of them are broken, some of them are kind of rusty looking, some of them are not as refined as they used to be. It's a handful of screwdrivers and
Perfect.
pliers. There's
Perfect.
also a little bundle, like a leather wrap, and you can see in there that they are like old rusted scalpels.
Legacy will take
Okay.
the box from Lockhart.
What?
You
Why?
see her like starting to shove a couple of empty Red Bull cans into it as well. We'll take all of it. We'll take all of it. This is good.
What are you No, stop those are empty. What are you taking these?
Ammunition.
Sometimes I can figure out how to make things out of random things, and sometimes they go boom. So, perfect size boom. Yes. This is good.
Ah, so you want that kind of material. Oh, fine, take the whole fucking thing.
He just like throws a hand towards you. He's like, I don't care. None of that. Most of that is trash. I need to declutter anyway.
Are there a couple hand-sized wrenches?
He not inside that tackle box, but you can
Okay.
see there's ones that he has nearby that are just hung on the wall because they're too big to fit. You can just go grab one of those.
Grab the big rusty one.
I'll pay you back, Doctor.
He
If I
just
don't die.
looks, and then he just goes,
I'm going to go take a nap, and if I am awake and not dead, I will expect payment within 2 months.
Of course.
he waves a hand over his shoulder and walks over to his desk, sits down in the chair, and then puts his head on the desk and starts to doze off.
As he's walking, like Legacy just like as she's packing this bait like tackle box, random shit that he doesn't seem to be annoyed with her for packing. And if you need disappearing or like or I can do that. Yeah.
He perks up a little bit and he just goes,
I would like to not pay rent. That would be lovely. I did not know you had that kind of money. Why are you taking things from me if you have that kind of money to throw out?
Not money. Not permanently not pay rent, but for a couple.
Oh, I
months.
see. I get you.
and he like realizes what you're suggesting and he just waves a hand. He's like,
That will be a good way to repay me. But you still owe me a wrench.
and he points to Lockhart.
Wait, hold on. Lockhart, why do you need a wrench?
I kind of.
Wait, did Kaya ask why she needed a wrench?
Yeah. Like,
Veloska looks like to Kaya's
raise
question.
an
He just
eyebrow.
Veloska just she does not know yet, and then like turns around and lays his head on his desk.
like, I mean, I've got one. Like, what size you need? 3/4?
This one's like, I'd say like 2 or 3 size the fist, right? Kind of thing.
It
right?
is a this is one that is the length of your forearm.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
It is the length of your forearm, and the head of the wrench is about the size of your outstretched fingers and palm.
She kind of like swirls it in her wrist, kind of thing, like kind of trying to loosen up her arms, I guess, a bit.
Doing that thing
also-
like the
yeah.
Jedi twirl
Yeah.
with a wrench.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh. No reason. Stuffs it.
Lacey looks up and watches, then looks at Kaya. That's her med kit. And she goes back.
Whatever the fuck works. I don't know, man.
I guess at that
If-
point's when we're heading out.
Okay. Veloska.
One thing,
Oh yes.
one single thing.
Yes.
While everyone's, corralling out the door, or like towards wherever the escape is, Lockhart will go over to Bengetti.
Ben-Getty
Huh.
is he's focusing on coding something, but he'll like as you approach, he looks up and then goes, hey.
Hey. So this is pretty ballsy even for me. So might as well say this now, just in case.
Listen, I respect your feelings. I personally don't return them. It's not for me. But I can see why. And he
He pinches
gestures to
him.
himself. Ow! Why would you do that? I'm trying to be understanding to you.
Thank you for being my friend.
Then he gets a little, pink and has an indignant look on his face and he goes, well, then thanks for putting up with me. It's, it's definitely a struggle. I can understand that. And he looks over to Kaya and he just goes, it's definitely a struggle.
Quite.
But he shrugs, then kind of punches your arm with the backside of his hand, and says, "Realistically, what could possibly go wrong?"
Oh God.
He says that with the thickest amount of sarcasm, knowing
Yeah.
exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that has happened before. Just saying.
Oh. With how often Lockhart has been in situations where it's do or die and very very tenuous, the stakes are a lot higher this time around. But he's definitely that's just a meme. At one point he said it, and you're like, why would you jinx it? And he's like, no, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to wish you good luck, sort of. And then it just stuck.
She kind of gives a little smile at that, and she hesitates, but then gives him a hug.
He kind of flinches back from the hug at first because he's super awkward about public displays of affection, and he can't look around to see if anybody's watching. He just goes, "Ow," and he hugs you back. But he's very grumpy about it.
Yeah, it wasn't a long hug, but it was like a, I don't think I'm gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this ever again, so fuck it, kind of thing. So it was a quick hug, and just see you around.
He nods and just goes, if it means anything to you, I will do my absolute best to stop it and to help you all.
I know you will.
He nods. And from behind you, you feel another big firm hand plant on your shoulder. Veloska had gotten up from his desk and walks over, or had walked over. He puts a hand on your shoulder and just goes, I'm not going to be able to sleep today or tomorrow or the next day if there are that many days next, but I actually think there might be. You and your weird friends are all very resourceful. It's particularly all these small ones. And he gestures towards towards Ben-Getty and Legacy. It's very small, but compact with knowledge.
It's quite an interesting. God, what's the word? I can't think of the word.
Paradox.
Coincidence.
Imagine there's just like
Paradox.
a small shared indignant look between Legacy and Vengetti.
Like tiny fume lines. And Veloska holds out a hand and he's like,
If you make it back and you do not need any full body replacements, I will patch up what is there. And if you do need full body replacements, then check out the bag. I put some extras in there just in case. They're not easy to put on in terms of feeling good, but they are definitely simple to apply. That is the one upside.
She nods and she takes his hand and is like, sorry for earlier, by the way.
I don't care. There's a lot going on, and I try to do my part in it while I am alive.
he shrugs.
That is the best I can do.
Oh, and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out what appears to be some kind of weird, like, visor type thing. It's a lot smaller profile, but it's not. It's like kind of Geordie LaForge goggles. And he goes,
Don't know what that is.
"Oh, they're like wraparound, single, slim, rectangular glasses."
Oh, okay.
But he pulls them out, and you can see that there's a handful of dials and switches on the side, and he goes,
If you see that the colorful one with the hair,
and he gestures towards the head.
you can give her this. It will not. It would be helpful. She expressed to me wanting to do some sort of optometrological surgery, but given that she is neither here and that tomorrow may in fact never come, she can at least have these kind of goggles.
Lockhart nods and takes them. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. I'm not giving you anything. You took my wrench.
I mean, hopefully I'll be able to return it, huh?
If you return it, then well, that would be very nice. And probably a first for most of the things that people borrow.
And he says it in quotation marks from me. And he looks at Vengetti, who just he knows he's looking at him and just doesn't turn around.
And I'll head over to the group. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that was
No, that's it. Just
Okay.
like he will show you off now.
Maybe.
Yeah. If there's nothing else, then we'll cut back to Lindis and company.
I'm gonna hand the glasses to Kaya though.
Can Kaya do a thing real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Kaya has dug out her fucking controls for Larry. And can she have it so that she can give Vengetti a headset so we can have comms with him, if need be, through Larry?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you hand him the headset, and he looks like pleasantly surprised. He's like, "Oh, I thought you would." To be honest, I didn't think you'd help me do most of this, but you're being very cooperative. And it's kind of concerning, but thank you nonetheless.
I'm not a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
he
answer that.
just he looks like he's about to say something that would just fucking absolutely set you off, and then he just swallows it and doesn't say anything.
You know what? This close to my birthday, I think you shouldn't.
No, yeah, that's why I'm not.
Yep.
It's good. We're good.
Alright.
It's all good. By the way, I'm not going to be piloting him constantly, or listen to comms.
Right.
But yeah, otherwise Larry is just going to be, good old Larry.
Good. Just so you know, Larry himself runs on the Sienna 5000 circuit board, but the mini Larrys are on ISP modules with perf boards. So, you know the limits of those, right?
He looks at you, just immediately like indignant, like, do I know the limits of that? Fucking yes, I know the limits of those.
You're the one who said you weren't good at fucking drones. I don't know where the fuck
I'm not
you
good
know.
at flying drones. You think I can't fucking build a drone? I can build a drone. I just crash it. Unless I gave it a brain and let it teach itself to fly. In which case it would crash itself a little bit.
Not a good thing to say when you're gonna be piloting my drone.
No, listen. Larry is going to
Just kiss already.
He's going to be
You're
fine.
not here.
He's going to be fine. He's still
Honestly,
going to have a good amount of control. Most of
Legacy
the control.
listens to the argument for about a minute, and then she's like, "Okay, drone nerds," and starts walking.
I don't. Is this supposed to be a fucking insult? That's my job. It's like calling her a hacker.
She's not responding because she's walking.
Yeah. All right.
Then Getty is
whatever.
indignantly like watching you walk away. He's like, I'm not. Of all the things to be a nerd about, drones are like
Pretty
towards
cool.
the bottom of the list. I mean, they're cool, but like,
Yeah.
well, I
You just
don't
hear
identify with
Legacy
them.
all over her shoulder. We have shit to do, and you're talking about circuit boards. Let's move.
Fucking fine. Whatever.
Ben
Bye.
Getty, as you start walking, he flashes you a thumbs up and he just goes, "Good luck," and like more earnestly says goodbye that time.
Kaya will give him a little bit of a nervous smile and a thumbs up. Thanks.
So as you guys are starting your underground trek, Lindis and Too Cute, you go from the top floor down. No one's using the elevators, so there's no stops between any of the floors. And there are many floors. There's 15 to 20 floors, and you were near the
I assumed we were
like
going up to the roof.
well, the most expensive rooms are like the presidential empire suites, etc. Which would be like the top floor that would have roof access or like a patio or something like that. But like you have a nice room, but it's a hotel room, so they have like to scale it a little bit. But you're in the top like quarter of rooms. But as you as you are going down, you land on the lobby level, and I need you to make me another luck check.
Fucking swarmed by simps.
Okay. So, the door opens, and as the door opens up, I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick, Iris. Do you want
Hyper.
or fucking why? Why is that a thing? God damn it. Pyrus and Iper? Piper, I'll let you pick. Do you want the good NPC or the bad NPC?
I don't know what that means.
You'll get one or the other.
The bad NPC.
Okay. So the door opens and you are greeted with the view of the crowd of people who is it's about the same size, but there's a different kind of makeup of faces, because you can imagine that some people went to their rooms, etc., but they're continuing to shuffle people in. But the door opens, you see that crowd of people, and they are all kind of corralled in a semicircle as they look, and on one side you see the crowd, and on the other they're all watching and enamored with Joseph Diego, who is standing with his personal guard on his one flank and 3 additional fire ants on his other. I like that term, so I'm stealing it. So the elevator door opens, and he says, "Which is why we're moving into," and he slowly turns to look, "take control of the situation and responsibility for our actions. Thank you." And he turns back to the group, and like his energy kind of dies, and he looks over towards you and Too Cute, to which, as he starts to maneuver over, Too Cute like gets real tense, but she doesn't say anything. She's like, kind of bumps your elbow, and it's almost like kind of asking. It's like a silent ask of like, what's the play? Is it you're or not asking, but rather like you're still. I'm still following your lead. Just let me know if I shouldn't, or if I should do something crazy.
Is he coming over to me?
Yes, he is walking over towards you, and behind him, the guards aren't following him, but the red kind of android-looking person is. And
Going up, Mr. Diego?
he walks over and goes, "Actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to have a conversation with you. It's been a while since we've talked."
I was hoping for the exact same thing.
His
Pentel Suite, I
eyebrows go
assume?
up. Yes, if you don't mind.
She hits the penthouse button.
Delightful. And he steps in the elevator with you, and Too Cute like is just staring daggers between him and that fucking red Power Ranger looking ass dude in a full power suit, just like super on edge, waiting for the shoe to drop. And the elevator closes, it starts to slowly ascend, and Joseph, he like straightens his tie a little bit and says, "I'm curious as to why you're here in this district. I have my theories, but to be honest, I didn't expect to run into a familiar face."
Well, I was here for a race.
"Oh, is that so? A street race of some kind?
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of illegal, or a bunch of criminal hoodlums taking part in an illegal street race turned into a tragic technological failure. Unfortunate, really. Did you happen to see the accident?"
I was actually gonna ask you, were you able to find your little pet yet?
He moves his jaw a little bit and says, "If we're going to drop the pretenses of this, I would at least like to do so in the penthouse.
That's fine.
But I can appreciate your businesslike candor. And your friend. It seems like she's a little on edge."
Well, I can't blame her, knowing that you're in the room with her and you're, well, fire ants.
He tilts his head. "Where did you hear that word?"
A friend.
"A friend. Interesting.
But, yes, I don't blame your friend for being a little on edge. My friend here is also quite nervous. And that android with like the red diode on its like the red light, just staring straight ahead, motionless at the elevator wall or elevator door. So, I do have a question for you, a more casual one.
Mm-hmm.
What desire did you have to be at this race?
Oh, a friend of mine was participating in it, actually. I was just here to cheer her on.
Interesting. Was this friend of yours the same one who happened to tell you that pejorative name for my security personnel?
No, but she is the one who won the thing. She was very impressive.
His face is very, very hard to read. You can roll me a cool check and use your manipulation as a bonus. This is you will also get like this impression from him that it's like almost like verbal combat where he's kind of pressing and giving and taking. So you're just looking at his face, kind of looking up and looking back and looking up and looking back. He has not turned his eyes to face you during this conversation. He's just staring straight ahead. All of his emotions and emotes have been towards the elevator doors. It's just as hard to read him as you remember. Though you do get you get the impression that he's a lot more kind of loose right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's being a lot more emotive than he was when you first met, as that
Yeah.
like it seems as though he's not actually on that drug, or if he is, its effects have long since worn off. But after another few seconds, the elevator dings and opens up, and this suite, your room is nice. It has actually like additional beds, and it's this really big living room area and a full kitchen. This elevator opens up into what looks like an apartment. It is just the front door is the elevator door. The elevator door parts, and you're greeted with this like baroque, ornate glass like decor and kind of French style interior decorating. It is this gorgeous white and gold color scheme with accents of blacks and grays, meant to be kind of neutral but still give off the air of eccentricity and opulence without being gaudy.
Mm-hmm.
And as he walks in, he the door opens and he immediately starts walking in. And the android follows in step behind him, just a few feet, or just 1 or 2 steps behind.
Yeah, as we go up, I'm just gonna like gently like rub Too Cute's forearm to like reassure her a little bit.
You give if you pass a glance at her, you can see her eyes dart down. She looks at you, touch her forearm, and you can feel just from the arm you touch the tenseness from her gripping her fist like eases up in her forearm.
Yeah.
But Joseph walks over and walks up to this large glass window that extends probably 10 feet on either side. It is this ornate triangular shaped wall with not easy chairs, but kind of like a nice recliner, or not recliner, like just a very, very ornate like leather chair and there's an end table on it. There's like champagne in a cooled ice glass or ice bucket with 2 glasses on either side of it. And he gestures to a chair and he just goes, "Have a seat. And if you like, the help can wait in the guest room, or just stand behind us."
I looked at Too Cute. What would you like to do?
Too Cute, like, looks at the robot or the android, and then looks at Joseph Diego, and then looks back to you. The android is standing in this very rigid posture, like 12-ish feet behind the edge of the chair from Joseph Diego, and so she looks at you and then nods towards the parallel spot to the android. As she nods, you hear the thunk as Joseph Diego pops open the champagne bottle and pours himself a glass, and then pours a glass and gestures it or offers it to yourself.
Absolutely.
And don't worry, I didn't put any chemicals in this. This is just a good glass of champagne.
I do love me some champagne.
It's actually from Champagne as well, not just sparkling wine.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous, am I right?
Indeed you are.
And he takes a long sip and then continues to stare out the window. And at this height, you can see all of Seahin Ward, at least a majority of it. And from where you're looking, all of these buildings are like crawling and creeping and bending in this Inception style way until it curves up to the cylinder, and you see the next ward above you in the sky, and you're reminded that this isn't Earth. It is a space station. It is this like inverted living situation where your sky is city and your ground and everything underneath you it's closer to space than you realize. Granted, it's a couple thousand feet of steel and engineering and like raw material, but you are surprisingly close to the vacuum of space if you were to just travel downward and keep going and going and going and going and then just dig a little bit. But as you're both looking out at the station as it slowly turns, he says, "This is a remarkable feat of engineering." Bless you.
Yeah, sometimes I find it odd to think that we're thousands of miles up in space.
You know, I had a heavy hand on the scale when it came to funding this project. And I don't think that many people realize that.
You and the other corporations, right? There's the whole war and all that.
When you mention the other corporations, he gets this kind of knowing smile on his face.
Yes. The corporate wars. Everyone knows about those. Funny thing. But me and a handful of the other corporations did indeed fund a good portion of this. Hence why we're here. Why I'm here. This is more of a private world, I think. At least it could be. I'm not very much interested in the politicking that goes on in the different spheres of my peers, I'll call them. I am intrigued with more grandiose things. But don't confuse me for one of those technological evolutionist nutcases. No, I'm not deifying technology. Rather, taking advantage of what technology can do for me. And for people at large. But mostly me. I don't think that's unreasonable. Taking
No?
tech.
Not at all.
If you were in my position, with enough money and power and influence, but not enough time, what would you do, you think?
If I had your position and power, but not enough time, I would make time.
He nods his head. That is a good answer. That was one that I wanted to look into, but I couldn't find a scientist mad enough to do it. Unfortunate. But here we are. In lieu of making time, I've found other ways of finding it in places where it previously wasn't.
Your pet, I assume. And the vast amount of information you've been gathering.
He sips the champagne and just goes, I call it the Observer.
Well, it wasn't observing.
Oh, but it was. The Observer is a creature that witnesses everything. It was designed and built for the express purpose of seeing and understanding every possible scenario, to optimize every single microsecond. Initially, it was used as a program to make code run faster. I found it being used in one of my offices to make filing paperwork for fiscal years easier. I don't know how long it was there before I found it, but when I did find it, I managed to create something with a little bit of help from a friend.
Mr. Bengetti, was it?
Well, maybe. Which one are you talking about? The first or the second?
The crazy guy with the mouse hair.
The second, I see. No, not him. Though he is an inspired brain, he is not the one I was looking for. Although I did have him for a time. Currently, the genius inventor that I wish I could replicate would be his father, Johann the First. The man was brilliant. Beyond brilliant, really. With that little snippet of code, and some very precise optimization of a projection linear testing system, or AI, Johan and I were able to hyper evolve a particular creature. And I say creature because it's no longer code. It has moved beyond that.
It was absorbing electronics and it's hunting for information.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It took a year of solid waiting and iterations and crunching before we got to the first version of the Observer. In that rudimentary state, it was hooked to an observational station, i.e. a camera, and let loose to watch. We fed it every possible image we could. We converted things from sound to imagery, waveforms. Eventually, it got to the point where it could predict the pattern of color in the image we were going to send it next, based on how often we had picked certain things before. It was a genius. But it was also useless. It was so fixated on pattern recognition that it didn't have any other purpose besides that. So, despite its ability to recognize things perfectly and even predict the next possible thing, it was only able to do so in a very discreet manner. But that did not deter Johan, because he was on the verge of greatness. Yet neither of us knew it at the time. And he sips from the wine glass. You see, this creature is well beyond the second version. There is a litany of failures before it. Experiments that devoured themselves, experiments that observed themselves into destruction. It is quite difficult to create a creature that is infinitely hungry for knowledge and infinitely capable of consuming it. Information has weight. There is an actual mass, a quantifiable way to measure the size of information. Johan was able to figure out something a bit more useful for the next version. Johan designed a superstructure, a data superstructure that allowed for nearly infinite storage. And with infinite storage comes infinite knowledge.
You're not about to say all of Grand Cross, are you?
Not quite. Grand Cross was a byproduct of most of this. Grand Cross is, for lack of a better term, a broadcasting ray. You see, before the Second Corporate War, Johan made a breakthrough. This superstructure required more energy than we could produce from typical means. But I had access to atypical means. I bored a hole through the crust of the earth to give him all the power needed. And Johann did not disappoint. He made internal thermo-Dyson sphere. At least, that's how I like to think of it. He would explain it in a much more nuanced and technologically complicated way. You would lose yourself in all of his jargon. But the bottom line of it is, no, Grand Cross is not the actual place where the information is stored. It is where the information is accessed. The information is stored, and he pauses, lifts up a hand, and points out the window. And as he points, the station rotates, and between two slivers of this prongs of the station, you see Earth. And it just barely ekes through. All there.
I was close then.
He shrugs. A lot closer than some. So I offer you this. This knowledge. All of this prowess that comes with it. And I suppose this could extend to your friend behind you. I need access to someone in particular. And you know them.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Getty and a handful of your other friends who associate with him. One of my old employees. The ideal situation would be to take Ben Getty's brain and use him as a conduit for the next step in this project. And if you are willing to help me, you can have a seat at the table. This is going to be the next phase of evolution for humans. It will give us the capacity to become beyond anything that has existed to date. Beyond dreamers. Beyond the observer.
And my other two roommates, Legacy and Kaya, will they be okay?
I don't care about them. They're not in any danger so long as they stay in their place. And let me have the observer and Ben Getty. And the same goes for you. If you let me have Ben Getty, and you let me take this observer to reclaim it, you will also be safe. I have no interest in leaving the corpses of a handful of young women behind me. Although it wouldn't be too much to do if it became a problem.
Wow, you're offering it all. A place at the table, cash, even safety. Safety for me and my friends. And she looks at Too Cute. What do you think?
Too Cute is staring at the back of his head. And the bat is positioned by her side, not over her shoulder. The tip of it just barely lifted above the ground. And you can see that she's like gritting her teeth from her jaw. What does it mean to have a seat at the table?
Question.
That is a good question. She is useful, I will give her that. So what does it mean? Well, to evolve past a dreamer, past human, is to transcend the typical nature of reality itself. This is the answer to the question that I was so afraid of. What happens when I am out of time? Well, since I couldn't make more time, I will make time not a factor. And no, this isn't a cheap grab at immortality. We've already figured out how to keep someone from dying. It's not worth it. You'll go mad. I've done it. But that's a story for another day.
So summarize that GM for me. Like I didn't not quite immortality, but also it is. But what?
You will become one with the dreamer. It will subsume you into itself, and you will absorb its nature. The mind of a dreamer is infinitely more complex than the mind of a human. Their mind, like the data pool that Ben-Getty made, is a superstructure. Storage of infinity. You will have access to all of the knowledge that has existed throughout all time, being able to reference it perfectly at the drop of a hat. Physical limitations not required. You will be as close to a god as you can get. The step after that can only exist once I get all of that knowledge. You can't become a god if you don't have a way to store all your power. We don't live in a fantasy world. So, if you help me, I will permit you a seat at the table. As in, you will be one of the first, along with me, to become something new. A creature beyond dreamer and human alike. The infinite creativity and possibility of a human with the raw intellect, power, and infinity that is a dreamer. All I need is the Observer and Ben-Getty. You will never want for anything again. Not food, not sleep, not money, of course. You probably don't want for money much now. Even if you did, and your only concern was fiscal, well, I am the most powerful man on the station. But don't tell the government. They don't like to be reminded of that. If you need monetary incentive, I can provide it.
So, I need some quick lore with Too Cute, real quick. Mr.
You need
DM.
You need lore with Too Cute? Okay.
I need some background lore, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of game do we play together?
So it would be the equivalent of like StarCraft. It's like I imagined it to be like a really, really high intensity RTS that gets really, really intricate.
Do we have like signals to each other, like during game or like something like that?
Oh my god. If you like when you're sitting at like a shared terminal, yeah, you would either have hand signals or you would have like name call outs or whatever, however you wanted to do it, or in game if you wanted to communicate something without typing it or communicating via chat, you could have some sort of micro control. But yeah, you could have like a type of hand signal.
Just like she's standing next to the android, right?
She's standing more or less parallel with it and Diego and you. So it's sort of like you and Joseph Diego are probably about 6 feet apart with the table and the chairs between you. And then behind you, about 10 to 12 feet back, stand cute, too cute, and the android. So they're also about
I'm
6-ish feet apart.
I'm gonna make just the very quick gank sign with my with my finger, with my 2 fingers, like pointed, like very.
So your intent is to signal her to fucking go?
Yeah, it's go time.
Okay. All right. I'm going to roll for too cute.
You're not taking the offer?
You had me up until becoming one with something. If you hadn't mentioned that, I probably would have sold out Ben Getty. I don't care about him, but I don't want to become some formless thing. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to become God. I just want to brighten up the world.
So you signal to too cute. If you are you don't look back at her as you do this. If you want to, you can, but you'd have to roll to like be
No.
subtle about it. Okay.
No.
So you just like throw a hand over one edge of the chair and then subtly flick that signal.
Mhm.
And there's a brief pause, and then there's like crack, and then there's a stillness. And then without turning around, you can see Joseph close his eyes and just go, "Oh, well, things were going so well, I thought." And behind
Like I
you,
said, anything else, and I would have been fine with it. No Eldritch
behind
Techno God for me, thanks.
behind you, too cute. She is like, she has swung the bat. The bat is bent at a like a ridiculous angle, and the robot has a dent in the side of its head, or the android has a dent in the side of its head, but it is otherwise unfazed and has grabbed Too Cute's wrist and twisted it, and then holds her by the neck. So it's got her neck in one hand and twisting her wrist in the other, and the bat's like bent around the android's head. You know, I don't like to get messy doing business. But I meant what I said about leaving the bodies of unfortunate people behind. I
Fire
don't.
taser?
You're gonna shoot the taser at him?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll quick. Plus, if you have any proficiencies or specialties in taser.
I'm going to boost this roll with a prep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Because
god.
obviously. So boosting is 3 dice, right?
Yes, so you add another d6.
I have for this. I don't think dancing will work here, so I'm going this list here. Okay.
Okay. Okay. 13. Let me see. So, you spin around in the chair, point the taser at him, and fire. And there's this brief moment where time slows down, and you feel the chunk of the plastic as you pull the trigger in, and the release of the the contact at the end of it, and it shoots through the air and sticks into his torso. And after a pause, there is a as the taser cracks on, and his body convulses and shakes violently, and he twists and then stops and doesn't move.
I'm gonna quickly take that champagne bottle, break it, and fucking stab him.
Okay, you jump up, grab the champagne bottle, smash it over the table. Roll me a tough check. It's actually quite hard to break champagne, but this you're gonna put more body into it, so it won't be too high of a DC. It's just a matter of how effective your weapon is. Okay, so you get up. Yeah. Yeah, so you get up and with you throw the taser down. It's battery spent. It's load fired. You grab the champagne bottle. You have it's uncorked. You spin it around. Pour the rest of it's just contents spilling onto the ground, and you smash it onto the edge of the tiny end table, which causes that to come clattering to the floor. And now roll me a quick attack with the bottle.
Can I boost it or
Do
I need to?
I will say you can boost it now, but typically you'll say boost it before you roll. I will let you boost it retroactively.
Thank you.
That is 12. So you lunge forward. The bottle is in shards, but there's one good 7-inch piece that's just jagged and broken and twisted with the green glass, and you're going for his neck, and then there's a pause, or not pause, there is a tension, and you feel your wrist grabbed and twisted, and in an instant you see this android holding you by the wrist, and its head slowly turns towards you, and the eyes, or the red light on its face, just slowly gets brighter. And that is where I'm going to end the session.
No, don't you fucking dare. We're in this here. Keep going. Not allowed.
Oh
Finish
my
it.
fucking god!
Good night, everybody.
Not allowed.
No!
Finish this.
No!
Alright,
Keep going.
see, I'm gonna need you to publish this, ASAP so I can watch
Yeah.
it. Because I missed half of it due to bullshit.
Yeah, Joe, I need to know what happened so I know what happened. So please continue.
Oh my god.
No, not so lucky. I want to end on the most dramatic note possible.
No, come on.
If
There's one cliffhanger you cannot stop on.
I have to. It's too juicy.
No.
It is too delicious.
No. Not allowed.
Too.
Not allowed. Keep going.
The anxiety is
Popcorn. I
delightful.
need more popcorn.
Jesus fucking Christ.
He had me up until Eldritch Techno God. If he had stopped there, I would have still been getting out, no problem. But then he mentioned fucking
Oh my
Techno
god. I was so you were listening really intently, and I was like, "Yo, is this gonna be the betrayal? Fucking
was
do
ready
it!"
for it. No, I was going to, and then you said Techno Eldritch God, and I was like, you lost me.
I
Like,
love
He's-
I
this.
don't care about Spaghetti. I don't care about Lockhart right now. I would have sold those two out happily for
Oh.
like,
Oh, that
you
would have
went too
been
far. You went
that
too
would have
far
been
with Techno
delightful.
God.
Oh, that
You
would
went
have been
too far with Techno God.
so tasty.
I love Lindis's morals. Like that's where she draws a line.
See, I'm confused now about
Why
said morals. She's supposed to be a fucking activist, and yet she's like willing to sell people out.
For your safety.
For
For Too Cute, Kaya's, and Legacy's safety. That's why she asked about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unreasonable because Bengetti is a lovable scientist who, as far as you know, worked for Tetsuo, developed some type of super dangerous illicit project, and his father was involved in making this monster to which you don't know what happened to his father.
Yeah.
So Lindis has access to a bunch of information that you guys don't have access to.
nope.
So it's you know,
Can't even try and hack her phone because she left it with Cosmic, who's probably watching movies.
Joe, you gotta keep going though. Like, this is the worst place to end it.
I
telling you.
disagree. This is the best place. This is the most optimal place